Dan, welcome back. Hopefully everyone can hear me okay. Oh man, wouldn't that go? Hopefully everyone can hear me okay. Oh man, wouldn't that go? Hopefully everyone can hear me okay. Oh man, wouldn't that go? Levi makes all the good calls because he's a genius. So now we can turn this back up, turn this up a little bit. So now we can turn this back up, turn this up a little bit. It's weird though. Guys, we're testing out the tech today. Welcome to Stevie Mill Plays. If you've already been here, you know what it's all about. If you haven't, we are going to be playing some TTRPG-esque Dungeons and Dragons style games here every Monday for probably the course of the next bunch of months. We've got some adventurers here. We've got Caleb that's playing a character Irvin. We've got Spurge playing a character named Drum, and we've got Levi playing a character named Sprinkles. So we are going to be getting into it here in just a few moments. I want to make sure the tech is working and everything is okay. So let's just get everything configured here. Being sure there's no echo or no issues before we get started. And again, this is a brand new campaign. We're starting from day 0. So it's all going to be sort of taking off from this point. We're going to be posting these videos to YouTube afterwards for everyone to go back and take a look at. And yeah, we're almost ready to get set. We've already made everyone's characters. The characters you can see on the screen there. We have a Namekian Dark Mage, an Avian Monk, and a Khajiit Rogue. All level 1s, so that should make for some interesting fighting and some interesting storytelling here tonight. Is anyone in the chat? Can you guys hear me first of all? Let's start there. Can you guys hear me in the chat?
Hey, we got a yes.
Nice. Hey, let me know if there's any egregious echo, or if there's any, if you don't hear the background music, or if we sound Gucci. We sound Gucci. Huh.
Good deal.
As long as we can see everyone okay, and you guys can see me okay, we can get started.
A little echo.
Oh, an echo. Then what we're gonna do is. How is that? Is that any better? Oh man, I can still hear my own echo.
What in the world?
That was better. Yeah, that was the main control audio there that we're working on. Let me just adjust this a little bit. And if I don't sound the same as I normally do, I apologize. I know we did 2 side quests on our other campaign yesterday, back to back almost. One at the local brewery, and then another one here. So we rolled dice for 8 or 10 hours yesterday, which is awesome. But it does take a little bit of a toll. I did adjust the audio, guys. Can you guys hear me okay? Am I getting any bad echo? Anything like that as far as how everything sounds and looks? Still a soft echo, he says. Well then shoot, we're going to turn this one dancing all the way. If I turn this all the way down, will they not be able to hear the desktop?
Is the speaker on all the way out?
What a legend!
Hey-o.
I know it's got XO, so I have a feeling I know who that is. Thank you for following. Really, really, really appreciate it. I know who that is. So we're also going to bring the desktop audio down too, I guess, because I'm trying to do anything I can to get this echo out of here. Well, guys, we're going to go ahead and get started here as long as everything is all set well and good, or as good as it can be. Again, if something comes up to where you really can't hear what we're saying, or if the audio for suddenly goes astray or askew, or if for some reason some technical event happens, hey, let us know in the chat right away so that we can get things fixed for you, so you guys can watch. And again, we're going to be rolling the dice right here in the tray, so you guys can see what we're rolling as we're rolling it. So let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to start here. Let me cue up some music and see how well everyone can kind of hear it. Do you guys hear mysterious music playing in the background? Well, our volume's down, so we really can't hear it. But this is going to start with drum with your character, and you're meditating in a forest. You've been sitting there all day, surrounded by the various bits of nature all around you, to the point where you've been meditating for a bunch of hours, and it's almost like you're getting more attuned with nature. You can hear the birds chirping around you, and squirrels and other woodland creatures about you in every direction. You can even feel the occasional breeze from the woods coming against your face, and you can hear the tall rustling of the canopy of the leaves up over your head. You've been meditating here for, several hours. This is part of your daily routine. You travel, you hunt, you stop in villages when you need to for supplies, but you spend most of your time out in the woods, going from place to place, meditating, trying to find inner peace for yourself, but also trying to keep your some of your darker bits and darker bit of your personality at bay. Being that you're a dark mage and you've studied dark magic for more than a couple of years, it can have a tendency to affect your personality, so to speak. But you've been meditating for what must have been hours. Go ahead and roll a d6, actually. You're meditating for some time.
That's a 6.
Well, that is a 6. Roll. In this game, when you roll that top number, you get to, as they say, roll it again. So we're going to roll it again. A 2. So on a 6 for that meditation, we'll say because you had been sitting there for so long, you not only became in tune with the forest, but became in tune with more than that, things going on around you. To the point where you start to get a bit of a flash. Something starts to make your adrenaline pound in one of your hearts. To the point where you almost see a bit of a vision, blurry, but at the back of your eyes, in the back of your mind. Fire, smoke, screaming, it's echoing in your background. We've got some people in the chat. Hey, thank you guys for jumping in. If you guys came in because of my Facebook post, I really appreciate that. That was the first real Facebook post I've made in years. So thank you if you saw that, then you responded and shared. That's always appreciated. So you do start to get what almost seems like a portent for just a moment. Is it the past? Is it the present? Is it the future? It's hard to say, but is the echoes of that memory, of that vision, as soon as it strikes you, begin to fade from your mind. You feel a sense of urgency now. It must be something bad is going to happen. As that feeling sets deep within your chest now, what will you do about it?
I guess I'll go run around and look for just some goings on.
Okay. Well, you know right where about you are on this continent. You don't really know the name of the continent. You've never had any kind of formal education to give you that information. But you do know that where you're on the continent now, there is a town called Hamlina that's pretty close by. You would say it's within an hour or two. Once you leave the forest, head south, the castle city of Hamlina is there, welcoming you. Like, it'll take you about 2 hours to get there. So would you head that way?
I will head that way.
I wouldn't tell. And his character is an Namekian, and so as he stands up and stretches, he's got what's a bit of purple robes on, concealing the majority of his, semi-muscular green arms. His face is completely green, but a darker tone, with just those bit of nubby bits of antenna coming out the front, right? But your robes conceal the majority of your shoulders, your arms, and your tunic and your pants. So as you get up and pull it around you snugly, you turn facing south and easily begin trudging through the woods and the trees to get to the edge of the tree line, to where you can then head towards Hamlina City. Again, this strange portent or vision you had in your mind, still reverberating just a bit from its intensity. Again, you don't know if it's the past or the present or the future, but you feel like you need to talk to someone, maybe a witch, or maybe someone who's knowledgeable in future sight and in visions. So you need to go find somebody to maybe give you some insight as about what it meant. So that's where we're going to set it up for you. So as soon as you trudge for just a couple of minutes through the thick, dense section of the woods you were meditating in, the tree line breaks away, and you see down a bit of a wide, sloping green, planing field to Hamlin, a city out there before you. And it's a good-sized village, enough to have the makings of a castle being assembled inside of it. It is still in construction, so even here from this distance, you can see the tall wooden machinations of cranes and large wooden structures pulling up rocks and things, as they're consistently for years working on building some big castle in the middle. So it'll take you another bit of hours worth of travel to get down that hill to Hamlin, a city. So go ahead and roll a d6, and we'll let you roll to...
A 1.
Well, that is a 1, so it's going to take you a little bit of time to get there. So in that, we'll just say as you begin, letting out a huff, you begin taking the slow, methodical steps towards Hamlin, a city. And we'll just say the gaze sort of swoops past you for a second, as if it were a bird swooping down over the grassy plains, suddenly resting on Hamlin, a city itself. And so let's see if we can switch to a little city music for this. We'll say that Hamlin, a city, is again a very medieval city in that regard. It's got a good amount of houses and buildings and structures around the outside perimeter of where the castle is built. With a lot of streets narrowly winding its way in from all different directions. It does have a walled gate. The gate's only about, 12 feet high, solid gray, dark wooden stone going all the way around it. And as you're trudging, looking on ahead, it's right at the start of the day. The sun has just come up. And there are some little tufts of white and blue clouds in the sky. But it's, again, as the wind sweeps through again, blowing your cloak all around you, beautiful day. And Hamlin, a city, does have maybe just 1,000 or 2,000 people. The castle, again, being built literally over the course of the last, couple of years or so. So as we kind of leave you for a moment as you're walking towards it, we're going to focus in a little bit on Hamlin, a city. And let me go ahead and, while we're doing that, going to get ready to see how Sprinkles, this character, is going to react here. Because you've been living in Hamlin, a city, for a couple of years now. And you used to be a traveler, spending only enough time in one town or city to make enough money, to try to make a friend or two, but you normally end up invariably kind of leaving. Nomadic in that sense, and that you really seem to have trouble finding a place to call your home. We'll also say that you've been in Hamlin, a city, again, for longer than normal. Being a rogue, you tend to generally be a little shifty and pick pockets. If you find work, it's normally a little dubious. It's not normally things like cooking in a bakery or doing guard work for the castle or trying to set up your own shop. You've always been more the light to make quick money, right? By doing this, that, or the other. And if it's an odd job, it's usually less than reputable. So let's go ahead and just bring up some normal backgrounding music here. And I hope that it's audible as we get it rolling here. Again, if anyone in the chat is hearing any difficulties with the audio or anything, just let me know. So we'll say it's in one of the busy market squares of Hamlin, a city. At this early part in the day, commerce is already booming. There are people moving back and forth in the street, selling wares, carrying things, even small adventurers and groups of warriors walking to and fro, in and out of the tavern, in and out of an item shop or a weapons shop. Walking further up north towards the castle where it's starting to be built. There may be some royal family in there, but as for now, because it's still in construction, from what you've been able to learn, there aren't a lot of nobles there or royalty all the time. They're in their main castle, which is in a city called Ricapa, which you've never been to, but you've heard that that is where the main royalty lives and everything, to which you hope to visit.
Okay.
And so we'll say, as again, it's the people, all around you moving in one direction and another. You hear people calling out in the distance, selling wares, shouting at each other. Even people who are somehow, drinking at this point of the day in the morning already, kind of, slumbering around with drink, maybe perhaps partying too hard from the night before. But you take all of this in and more in a moment as you let the city streets of Hamlin, sort of, you breathe it in for a moment, let out an exhale. You need to make some money today. If you plan on leaving Hamlin to try to find your way to the next city, to try to find a place to live, find find a place you can call home, for reasons that you don't really aren't really going to discuss. But you have a couple of skills at your disposal that you could use to try to do something now. But again, it is the bit of semi-wide streets of Hamlin before you.
Awesome.
The half-built castle off in the distance. A couple of small shops and buildings around you, houses and smaller things behind them. The village itself, and I can call it that, is becoming a city. It's only been here for a scant 100 or 200 years. So it is very much in an early stage of development. So yeah, and being a Khajiit, you've seen the occasional Khajiit just like you here and there. But mostly, you find yourself a little less commonplace amongst humans, elves, half-elves, halflings, dwarves, even the occasional half-giant or the occasional, more exotic race like a tabaxi, which are closely related to you, or things like firbolgs or things like that, which you do see. Occasionally you see somebody taller littering the streets, walking amongst the crowd, head over everybody else, and the elf you would see with the long straight hair and pointy ears, robes, books in their hand, chattering excitedly heading to the destination. And you see warriors here as well, bigger human barbarian fellows with either hard padded gloves or crude weapons over their shoulders, walking opposite from you, talking amongst themselves about where they're headed or perhaps the mission they're taking. But this puts you in a spot here as you're sort of absorbing the sounds and the sights of the city all around you, to where you could take an action. So what do you do?
Can I look around for a good mark and try to pickpocket them?
Straight to it.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes, and so
You said I took a moment there,
that
just
shouldn't
taking the
be.
city and
you
spell
did. You took a moment. Hey, thank you for following. What a legend.
All right.
We love you.
I roll d6.
So your
for
action.
mark.
So we're gonna say this is technically. Well, no, we'll say this is one action because, as your again feline eyes narrow a bit in the light, looking for a target you think would be good to steal. Yeah, you see what must be a noble walking past you. And they've got a red and white fur robe and the nice flared tunic. His jowls are heavy set and shaking as he's laughing, earrings and piercings and all sorts of gold and chains and rings.
Okay, this is perfect. Yeah.
Walking past you as if he's headed towards the castle. And you didn't hear what he was saying, but he was chuckling to somebody at his side, perhaps his ward. It looks like a smaller, what looks like a goblin fellow with a leather helmet and what looks like a shield over his back. It must be what they call a shield ward, or somebody who's a squire, who's a knight in training.
Okay.
But you see them walk right past you, and you're like, oh, what a mark right there. So to use pickpocket, you would have to subtract the action points from your total and roll the dice number required, which is a 1d6.
It says 1d8.
Oh, it's a 1d8 for pickpocket. What a move.
Right.
Nice, so it'll be a 1d8. Go ahead. So that is a 6. Nice.
Okay.
So as you, we'll say put it right here until the action's over. So as you, nonchalantly walk in between and behind them, as you're 3 or 4 steps up ahead of you, you getting an idea. You draw one of your knives from around your sheath behind your back. Walk up behind him, you see that he has one of those shoulder pouches with his coin purse and other valuables inside. And it's bouncing off his hip as he's walking. So walking up behind him, you just hold the knife up behind him to where the back of the drawstring is, and as you slice it, it flips off of him, landing on the ground, right? And as he goes to pick it up, you just simply, using pickpocket, are able to kind of reach into his person and steal one of his items. And so as soon as he gets up, grabbing his pouch, you've already turned, trying to meld back into the crowd as he casts a suspicious look around him like, how did my pouch break? But we're going to give his ward a chance to react on that roll. The ward only gets a 4. So a 4 on your 6 means that it was unsuccessful in his attempt to intercept his pickpocket. So as this rich noble and his shield ward both turn looking around, wondering what happened, you're already walking back into the crowd, looking down at the item you stole. It appears to be some kind of a vial. It looks like it's got some kind of recurative drink in it. It must be an HP potion.
An HP potion.
It must be.
All right.
Starting off strong.
So, and now we're going to say, as you were picking pockets, we're going to give a couple of other NPCs a chance to see if they saw it. A 5 and a 4. So, yeah, as you put it back in your pocket and make your way over across the street to where the buildings are, flat wall, you were about to maybe either walk up to the door and walk in, or lean up against it and sort of lean up against it as if you'd been there all day. But as you do, you see another person on the other side of the door. It's a younger girl, must be in her early teens. She appears to be an elfin girl, dressed in what you would call rags, just bits of cloth hanging off, 30 feet, no shoes, dirty nails, just dirt-laden complexion, as if it was literally just someone who runs through the streets or has no home. She gives you kind of a look up and down. She says, pretty sure I saw you take something from that guy. To which you reply,
No, you didn't.
looking up at you, she says, well, 20 mil says that I didn't.
Well, I don't have any mills, so I don't know what you're talking about. Can't help you.
Well, she says, well...
Actually, why don't you come back into this alleyway, and I'll show you where I keep the stash, and then I'll give you a piece of it.
We're going to see how she responds to that. Wow, 1. Holy flip. Well, she would normally know better, but looking you up and down, being a Khajiit, again, you're feline in appearance with what look like darker brown and caramel colored bit of stripes and swirls all over your face, which extend down over your whole body, over your arms, shoulders, legs, torso, your back. It's all that bit of that short fur. But again, the pattern's over your face, and you've got that long sort of feline nose, and the exaggerated bit of a mouth with sharp teeth. So kind of looking up at you, she's like, I don't think I really want to go in a back alleyway with you, but here's what I'm going to do. We're going to go over to this alleyway, you're going to walk in, and then you're going to throw me the money.
No. I'm gonna go get it. You can come with. That's it. I'm gonna start walking.
All right. Well, as you start walking away, she's going to actually kind of go up right behind you, and as if she strides up behind you, she's going to attempt a skill. It's a 1. This pickpocket is the worst. So she went up behind you actually to check to see if there was an opening to steal something from you. You presented no opening, so as she kind of runs up behind you, she says, I think I've seen you in town before. Are you headed to the castle right now?
Are we still in the street?
Yes.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm really busy. Can you go away?
Roll for that. That's 5. So as you're walking, again, trying to melt your way into the crowd, and it's not really busy, but you have to kind of walk around someone walks up in front of you trying to sell something, you have to walk around this way, and she's like, have you been in this town a while? Are you headed to the castle? Have you met any of the nobility yet? Have you seen the king? He's been here twice. She's just like behind you, just talk, to where you stop for a moment, look up at the sky for a second, let out a sigh, and as you spin around, you say, look. It's like, you didn't see anything, I didn't see anything. It's like, this is a solo thing, I work alone, so you seem lost, but I'm going to tell you again to get lost. Giving you a bit of a taken aback look, she just says, oh man, I thought thieves stuck together in this town.
There's no honor amongst thieves.
Well, he says, well, that's the big that's the big lie of life. He says, you say that's the big illusion. Nothing actually really sticks. So as you turn again, giving her another look, and go to walk away, you do find yourself walking north up the street just to get away from her. I didn't give you mil to start out. I'll give you 1d4 times 25 mil. I mean, you're pretty poor.
Okay.
Pretty poor.
Oh.
That is a 3. That is 75 mil.
That's good. Can I use pickpocket while I'm walking up the street again?
Yes. Yeah. Yes, of course. So you're walking up the street, the half-built castle getting ever closer to you. Again, you can see very crude wooden cranes made out of logs that are brandished together, pulling up heavy pieces of stone, another one tilting it around, and off in the distance at the top of where the castle's being built, you can see crews up there. Big half-giant fellows, Tauren fellows, dwarf craftsmiths all up there, setting stone pieces, putting that adobe stuff in between it. If you were closer, you would see them up there with tables, with plans laid out, diagrams, schematics, as far as where to put the blocks to build the castle. As you're walking up again with shops on either side of you and people sort of all around you, you're going to go ahead and pick some more pockets.
That's right.
Go ahead.
I'm looking for a good mark. Hopefully one that's less guarded.
Okay.
And try to get some money.
That is a 3. Alright, so we're going to leave you right in the middle of that action.
Alrighty.
So, Irving, the avian monk. Being an avian, you're a birdman, really, for lack of a better term. You have something of a sharpened beak. Your whole face is avian feature. You've got what would be smaller fur-like feathers over all your body. You're pretty tall, about 6'2", 6'3", lean, muscular, right? Avians live, a while, but you're about in your early 70s, which is about middle-aged for an avian folk. So as you've been traveling for about a week now, you left your village. Not to say it was your home, but you've been living there for a couple of years. You've been training because a lot of people don't know by seeing you. You normally wear a blindfold around your eyes because you're totally blind. You've been blind for a while. But your other senses have become so keen and attuned that oftentimes your ears can pick up footsteps all around to where you can hear if they're light enough or if they're heavy enough, if it's someone like a halfling or if it's someone like a half-giant or an enemy or even a mount. You can hear those subtle differences in footsteps and shuffles and motions to know the difference. You can also hear something as keen as someone pulling a weapon from a sheath or someone blowing out a candle. You've been blind for a while now, and you're an avian, so a lot of your other senses are already sharp. So you can even smell sometimes air rushing towards you. You can feel it on your feathers, on your skin if someone's attacking. So you've been developing your blind fighting technique for more than a couple of years now. And not really being a nomad, going from village to village, you do stop in a place. You offer to help out where you can. You offer to help do manual labor. You help to teach children. You help to, if there's an orphanage or a place where there's impoverished people, you offer to spend your time there being benevolent. You donate to churches and to religious factions. You've always been that type of avian to where you want to do right and do well. But you're trying to perfect your blind fighting technique so that you're the best fighter you can be, even being blind. But 2, it's different flying blind because you're moving so much faster. It's harder for your senses to keep track of things in real time while you're flying. So that's another part of your technique that you're working on. But that being said, you were living in your village for I'd say for several months. You'd gained really good friends with a lot of the villagers and the denizens there. But it got to the place where you kind of done everything you could do, and you felt like it was just time for you to move on. So you started heading west, right, from the coast. And you'd been traveling for a week or two without really seeing a lot in the way, except for the occasional group of bandits chasing you, or the occasional traveling salesman trying to sell you items for way too much mil. But finally you did arrive in the large castle-esque city of Hamlina, right? And you've been there for just a couple of hours. you got here, and it's one of the bigger towns or cities that you've been in. And so as you're wandering around, almost overwhelmed by the sounds and the smells and the things that you're feeling against your skin and your feathers and things that you're feeling under your feet along the ground, rumblings, right? Your senses are almost overwhelmed. But you've been able to tell when people are moving close to you. You've been able to smell things burning, things cooking, as in food. You've been able to smell the sharpened steel of weapons from a shop as you've been able to walk by. So you've been able to really get a good sense of the size and the nature of the city just by walking. But as you begin just sort of trying to find a church or a parsonage or a place where you can offer yourself up for work, or for a place to sleep for the night, to try to get some things started as far as relationships, or a place to train. You've been just looking around. But as you've been sort of walking back down this wide street, somebody up behind you, and you can feel their presence growing closer to you, as you feel the subtle wind against the feathers behind you, as if somebody's reaching for something on your person. Are they trying to pick your pocket? Roll a d6 to evade it. Well, that is a 6, and on a 6 we get to roll it again. 4. So on a 6, again, the way your senses are so preternatural, you almost know you heard one crunching of a foot close to you in the dirt behind you, and you just felt that just a tingle on the edge of your senses as if someone was reaching in close. Like a whip, you turn around, grabbing someone's wrist, as they're reaching towards you, right? And you can't see anything, right? But you can get a sense that whoever it is, that they're shorter than you. And from their hand, you can even tell a bit of the way of their texture, that they're not human, certainly. It's almost like they've got padded fingers and padded under their hands, soft, right? So as soon as they grab your hand, you're like, this isn't a person that's human. And so do you want to reach out and grab their hand, or do you want to say something?
I think I'm just gonna try and grab their hand and maybe throw them down if I can, because I'm a monk. That's what I do.
On a 6, I'll give you another action. So yeah, you went up behind a guy, and he looked to be either an avian fellow, which is somewhat rare, or maybe one of a hybrid species. But as you crept up behind him, you saw that he comically had a blindfold around his eyes. You're like, how is he even able to see himself walking down the street? You take a moment like, this country bumpkin bird fellow is asking to be pickpocketed. So as you walked up behind him to pick his pocket, at the last moment, he spun around with reflexes you weren't expecting, grabbing your wrist in mid-pickpocket. You stop for a moment, looking at his face. All you see is the cloth of his blindfold. And now go ahead and roll if you're going to flip him down in the middle of the street.
I'm gonna give it a go.
That is a 1. Will you roll the counter?
I'm trying to break away.
Okay, so that's 1 on the flip attempt, and that is a 5 on the counter. 1 and 5. So as you went to do a thing where you twist it to get his arm around behind his back, you instantly, just stepping a bit back and almost bumping into someone walking by you, shake his hand away, right? Like, shake it away. You consider reaching for your weapon, but again, he seems like he's such a, maybe a 4 or 5 inches shorter than you. Again, your feathers are so delicate, your senses are so sharp that you can almost feel his ears perk back a little bit, right? As you're kind of just gazing at this avian, this birdman. How is he able to tell you were about to pick his pocket when you're walking up behind him? It doesn't make any sense. He must have some sort of... You ruffle through the possibility in your mind. Does he have psychic powers? Is he a magical creature? Is he not really real? Is he someone's familiar? Is he, you're just like, well, how did he do that? And as he tried to do a flipping move to try to twist your arm around, you shake it away. Looking at him up and down, you're like, this guy must have some nerve.
Be like, I'm just hungry, but that's a fight you don't want.
Oh. So he seems to challenge you with his statement, saying, hey, I'm just trying to get some money to eat. But if it's a fight you want, as he pulls his shirt back a little bit, you see the handles of 2 knives at his waist. It's like, if it's a fight you want, and he reaches down towards them. Now you don't really see them, I'll say, but you can, as he tenses his hands around it, and his knuckles tighten up, You can hear it just at the edge of your hearing.
I'll say, I'll take out 25 mil, and I'll give him 25 mil, and I'll say, it's not a fight that you want either. And then I'll turn around and walk away.
I'll take the 25 mil all day.
And then I'll leave.
So you bring the mil, and then you want to turn and walk away.
Easiest 25 mil I have for me.
You're going to accept it. As he holds the money out in front of you, you're just like looking around, you're in the middle of the street, you don't think he's going to try anything. You reach out and snatch it too quickly, right? And you of course, weren't going to play your hand back. He takes it, put it in your pocket. You say, thanks, friend.
That's right.
And as you want to turn to walk away, go ahead and roll a d6. Matt. Thank you, sir. God, I love this face.
What's that, 6?
6.
A 6. And again, for those who haven't seen this system,
Roll it again.
a 6 reflects the highest possibility of success, allowing him to roll it again to get to add bonuses to his succession. He did get 1 6. And so as you turn to walk away to melt back into the street, he says, "Hello, traveler." It's like, where would I go to find a bit of kindness? Where is the nearest church or apothecary or parsonage where I may speak to a priest about staying the night?
There's an apothecary up the street over to the left.
Okay. So as you are you gonna take that advice?
I have nowhere else to go.
Well, up the street to the left helps you some, but because you're not able to tell one building from the next, a lot of times it would be a lot easier if someone could show you where it was for you to get a sense in your mind. Plus, once you get a sense of how the building feels, its doorway, how it smells while you're walking past it, you'll be able to commit it to your memory.
Could I ask you to guide me there with my hand on your shoulder?
You can't touch me, but in my mind, I'm thinking I can pickpocket this guy again on the way over there. And so I'm like, I'll show you where it is, but you can follow my voice. So I guess we can talk.
You're gonna have to do a lot of talking.
Well, I mean, as he walks right in front of you, he says, follow me then, follow me. You can hear his footsteps taking off, even around all of the chaos going on all around you. Again, clanging of metal, banging of wood, crumbling of dirt around you, and every single sound you can imagine in a city is bustling in your ears. But as he just briefly brushes past your arm, as he walks right in front of you, you hear his in the ground ahead of you. So following behind him, he's behind you about a step and a half as you're walking. You take 5 steps and turn around. He's still there with his blindfold on. How was he doing that?
Can I start trying to pickpocket him again? Well, I'll wait till we get like closer to where he wants to go.
What a rogue.
And then right before he goes in, I'll do it, and then like leave.
I said,
What a rogue.
can I try to sense the hesitation in his footsteps if there's any kind of differentiation all of a sudden?
You would only have the briefest of moments to try to react, but yes. Some secret information. So as you're walking ahead and you're 2 steps behind, you're just sort of listening in, and Rox Revenhart. Rox, thank you for jumping in to watch the chat.
Hello.
Yes, this man here is a Khajiit rogue, skilled in the arts of thievery and duplicity. I know that is one of your favorite classes in this game, so it's good that we can pay homage and we can drop a rogue into the city. Rox the Revenhart, I know that I've talked about him a lot, so I know you certainly know who I'm talking about. One of my dearest friends, thank you for joining the chat and for watching in, Sir Rox, Lord of the Revenhart. So as you two are walking, you headed towards the apothecary, down about 2 blocks. It's literally the second building off down that street. As you're walking, again, the bustling street around you, people walking through, you're, again, because you're following him, your senses are also wary to the things going on around you. As you're walking, again, keeping a note of people passing you on the street, the castle, again, looming behind you, you walk down 2 blocks, and as you turn, it's not this building set on the corner, but the one behind it. And it has a sign, and that sign looks like it has 2 vials that are crossed with a quill underneath it. And so turning, You walk right past this building on the corner, which is an inn by the looks of it. And as you walk up to the apothecary, there's a couple people outside that are just walking out, putting items into a bag. They look like they just got done shopping, and it looks to be a trio of adventurers: a tall sword fighter, what you would think like an orange-clad wizard, and like a dwarf warrior with an axe over his back. They're all coming out in the trio, checking all their items and making sure they have everything. As you two stop in front of the apothecary shop, you say, "This is it right here." And as soon as that trio come out, and you can smell each of them very distinctly, and they each are making their own sounds. But as they go to close the door behind them, the wind a little bit wafts out from the shop. You get the smell of herbs and of that balmy smell of salve and of parchment. That has its own unique smell to it too, and ink. Those are the smells that the most closely resemble with the shop. So as you're standing here for a moment, you're working to commit it to your memory based on where you've walked around the city. A trio of warriors are walking around you guys, heading back towards the main street.
Can I attempt to pickpocket them?
Of course you're going to attempt to
Can I ask? Maybe this guy isn't as useless as I thought. Can he maybe leave me any information based on his alternate senses on who the best mark out of the three would be?
So as all three of them turn to walk away, and if you guys, a nuance of this system is that if both of you roll at the same time on to do an action, and you roll the same number, it becomes a team skill. And so you'd be looking out for a mark, and you'd be pickpocketing. So this would be, we'll call this move Gape and Grab, if you manage to land it.
Gape and Grab, I like that.
If they roll the same number. That is a 4 on your Gape and a 5 on your Grab. So it doesn't match, but those are good success rolls both ways. We'll see if, and as you're sensing the three of them walking around you, the tall half-elf wizard, seems to exude magic just coming off of him in waves. He seems to be very powerful. So you're not sure if trying to take from him would be a good idea. That dwarf warrior seems to be, as he's passing by, you can almost smell the sweat coming off of him and the exertion. He seems like a warrior, well-traveled and experienced. I would say you wouldn't want to steal from him either. But there was a sword fighter amongst the trio. And he seems to be trailing the trio as they come around the corner there. And he's already counting his money, the change in his mill, and putting it in his coin purse behind his back as the three walk away. So as you sort of point, not point at him, but like nod in his direction, or what you think is his direction, because you're blind.
Yeah.
You've already got an eye on him, right? As he's in the tail end of the trio. And so we'll say if the three of them are walking away, and I'm just going to use some generic figurines for these guys. We'll say sword fighter. Just bear with me here. It's the first time we're doing this. We're going to say sword fighter walking away. Magician walking away. Well, he's in the back, so we're going to do it that way. And the dwarf all walking away in a small group. And this will be the edge of the building, and you two will be kind of right up behind him. This is your character, and this is your this is your character.
Yeah.
Do I have your characters?
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. So as you're standing up against the building, and they walk around you, you innocuously just turn and you stride up behind them as they're walking away. He literally just put his coin pouch down, right? So they're walking ahead, and as you see more people coming towards you, you go to quickly dart around them, running as if you're in a hurry to do something. You accidentally smack into another person walking towards you. He had a big bag in his hand that had bread and foliage and vegetables all in it. You slam into him full on, causing him to drop all of his wares, and they spill haphazardly all over the ground. You back up for a second and go, oh, I'm so sorry. He's about to let out a curse out of his mouth. The trio then walks past you. With the confusion, they have to kind of stop, and as you back up, you bump into this sword fighter there in the back. So you ran around, bumped into someone, they ran up to go around you, and as you're backing up, you attempt to reach out, cut his coin purse away. Does he have a reaction? Well, with a 4, it does, so it is success. With a 4, you're able to, with one deft motion, slice his coin purse. It falls, you reach out, just barely catching it. We're going to say taking advantage of the situation, you walk up to, again, a blindfolded avian monk. You walk up, amongst the chaos, and you go, oh, hey, let me help you guys with that. And you reach out to the wizard fellow. You reach out to the wizard fellow here, and you start grabbing his shoulders and like patting him down and like reaching for his face. He puts his hands on your hands. He goes, oh, hey, stop, causing a momentary distraction, allowing you to successfully make the steal. As you apologize profusely, and the trio of them walk away a little perturbed, you're able to look down inside the coin purse. There was 10 mil in there.
Hey.
They just spent all their money in the shop, it seems.
Alright, well, it's 10 mil I have now.
I know, it was almost.
So close.
So so now that is, you're throwing dice. Oh, that's the wizard. Here's you. Make sure I get my right figurines here. For the other campaign, they used different figures. Keep track. So now it's the two of you in this narrow. It's narrower because it's a side street, and so if this wall here represents the apothecary shop, with the doorway being here, we'll say the other side of the street is just out of view of the camera, but it's a side street with the main street going in this direction, going back and forth. So you did successfully pickpocket. Well, now as you both are standing there and you're counting the money, chuckling to yourself, you have a moment where you're just like, man, this guy steals a lot.
Nice. Good recognition.
You have no idea. Yeah.
He seems to be very loose-fingered, and that he just seems to be stealing all the time. But if he's a pickpocket or a rogue, I suppose that's just in his nature.
That's what he was raised on. It's fine.
One upbringing. So as you're both sort of standing there for just a moment, you're counting the coins and you're contemplating his moral compass. There starts to be a little bit of commotion and bustling, louder than normal, happening from back in the main street. Turning to see what's going on, curious, both walk back towards the main stretch of street there. It was you walking in front and you just walking tentatively behind him. And you heard it really before he had a chance to react. And with your hearing, you can easily pick up the sounds of what sounds like a large group rustling through the crowd, knocking people over, causing raised voices, as something seems to be happening in the main street. The two of you make haste back down the street, and you're walking quickly and you're doing your best to follow behind, and it comes out to where the main street is at. Further up ahead now, what would be 15, 20 steps, there's a bit of a wide path that's open, that's already been pushed through by a large group of what look like, and it's hard to see them up ahead because their backs are to you and there's people in the way and they're 50 feet ahead, but there looks like a group of what look like royal soldiers. You would only know because on their backs they all have the same red capes that they all wear. It's a dark red, but they all wear the same capes, and because there's a bigger group of them, you can tell they must be with Hamlet at Castle. And now that and you hear raised voices, you're able to hear raised shouts saying, "Out of the way! We're on King's orders! Move! We have official business! Part!" As people are all trying to get through, because the streets are somewhat busy in this early morning. All the shops and street vendors are out. Some people have as much as a blanket laid out with simple wares on it. You see some goblin folk at a big wooden, like a rickshaw, selling some stuff off of it. A human and a dwarf further along, literally in front of the weapons shop, as you're taking a couple steps forward, selling other weapons in front of the weapons shop. Just a menagerie of different kinds of people doing different kinds of things here in the center of Hamlin, a city. As you're now craning your neck to kind of see what that commotion is, you see people, again, a group rushing up ahead, causing a bit of a break in the crowd as they're doing so quickly. What will you do?
Can I say something to him?
Sure.
It goes against my compass, but what I would suggest if you're trying to pickpocket is try to go against the walls near the disruption going on. I'll be distracted.
Alright, I will follow his sagely advice. And I'm gonna go pickpocket somebody else.
And I'm going
there's
to
a
follow right
distraction.
behind because I have nothing else to do.
So you're going to follow behind that group of soldiers, pickpocketing all the way?
I mean, we'll see how well the first one goes.
Because you are new to this city, and again, you do have some familiarity now, but you were just going to kind of stand there and kind of let them go on ahead. Whatever royal business they have, it doesn't seem to involve you at all. You know where the apothecaries is at, so now if you want to, you can go in there and see if they have any work to do, see if they have any jobs to be done, any tasks to be completed, any charitable work that needs to be done. You've been doing really good moving from town to town, offering your services, and people have been overall very generous in reply. So there's that moment where he's just sort of looking up ahead at the crowd with the soldiers walking up ahead, and you can't see the expression on his face, but he's almost just kind of like looking at people as they're walking away, looking at gear, looking at coin purses, kind of looking for rich folk as he's scanning the crowd. He takes 2 small steps forward, and you're already just like,
He's taking the advice.
He's just, and you also, because you're here to do good work, right? There's a part of you, and I'll let you roll a d20 for this, because this is one of those character-defining moments where you're going to be like, should I intervene on this Khajiit's behalf and try to show him the error of his ways, or should I let him do his own thing? That is a 3.
I do my own thing.
So you're just like, oh, I don't know if I want to follow this guy while he's running around stealing. You don't really want to be associated with it. But now there's the matter of all those soldiers pushing up ahead, heading towards the would-be castle. Do you give them any mind, or do you head back to the apothecary?
I think I'm gonna try and follow the cart because it's the loudest thing, and also because it seems like that's a whole lot of hustle bustle, and I want to be a part of that if I can.
So if there's a big event going on in the city, you certainly want to be privy to it, right?
Right.
So as he's already scanning ahead, walking tentatively, kind of looking for pockets and things to take, you're just behind him, right? And we'll say that you're walking around next to him now. Your senses around you are so sharp that you can tell as you're walking up, just because of the wind and the air around you, if there's going to be anyone right in front of you. The 2 of you are walking back now up the street. That larger procession, we'll say it was 6 or 7 soldiers. Walking behind that large procession as they're pushing their way through the crowd, elbowing and nudging to get to the castle. And so as you're following behind, that will give you another opportunity to steal. Now you can pickpocket, and it has been relatively successful so far. We'll just
Do I
say
get
that.
any type of advantage because the people are distracted?
If you notice, I'm not rolling as many reaction rolls
Yeah.
because of the nature of the crowd. Because you're a rogue, you pick pockets. You don't get any kind of advantage, but we'll say, well,
Oh no.
on a 3 you did see what looks like a rich couple. We'll say it was a rich halfling couple, and they were being pulled along by what looks like a big, bald, barbarian-esque guy, pulling them along on a cart, right? And they look to be wealthy as they're sitting back in the ornate rickshaw, laughing amongst themselves and sipping a drink, wherever they're getting transported to by this guy pulling it along. They're heading in the opposite direction, right? So you've already got an idea as they go up to approach. As soon as they're about to pass you, you just stop halfway in front of the guy, holding out your money. Be like, oh man, I will give you all this mill right now if you ditch them and let me take a ride all the way to the end of the city instead. bigger fellow guy, and he's bald with tattoos streaking all along his head, bare-chested, big, heavy muscles gripping tight the rickshaw handles. He just kind of looks down at you and says, "Piss off." Your distraction failing. You just back up a second as he quickly bustles past you. The two halflings that were sitting in the cart laugh a little bit at your misfortune as they roll by. One of them actually, we'll see if either of them has an event trigger now. Wow. Oh, the one doesn't, and one does.
Oh.
One of them, the closest to you, the male halfling of the two, says, "Shorbin, stop the cart for a second." Shorbin, the big guy. The cursed D6. He's talking to you and your cursed D6, I think. My D6s are always cursed because I'm the DM. His have been cursed lately because I don't know why. But that halfling, rich, noble fellow stops in his cart, holding up his drink. He says, "Oh, this poor guy right here. Obviously, you could never have more money than us to buy this cart out from under our noses." He says, "But you seem parched. Would you like a drink?" He holds it out to you.
I was on important business for the king. That's the only reason I needed that cart. But he'll hear about this, noble. Don't worry. I'm gonna walk off.
So your intelligence is a 2. You can roll a 1d4 to respond to that.
With what I said.
That is a deuce. That is a deuce. And then it's on to 4. So as you yammer for a second, you go, "I'm on official business from the king." The halfling goes, "Oh, official business from the king? And what's that? Are you the guy that wipes the mud off his boots?"
I'm gonna walk away.
As you walk away, he's still holding the drink out extended over the rickshaw for you to grab. Do you take it?
No.
As you both turn and continue walking up the street towards the bustle and the soldiers in the castle, he lets out a hearty as he drinks his drink, and the rickshaw continues moving south down the middle of the city street. Sorry about that.
Who's gonna dump it if I try to take it?
I'll give you a rave point, because that's exactly what he was going to do. What a rave point. First rave point of the game.
Nice.
I already know it.
Getting
I was like,
started.
this guy.
He called, we've been playing me too long. So as you walk past and letting the rickshaw and its halfling noble riders go on by, you make haste a little more to try to get up closer to the spots to catch up to that group of bustling Hamlin soldiers. I'll let each of you roll a d6 for your haste. 1.
Oh no.
A 1. 2 1s.
So slow.
We're distracted. It's okay. Got a lot of pockets to pick.
So you try to bustle up to get ahead to catch up, but because the crowd has already started to converge on the spot where they had parted, it's difficult to kind of push one person past and walk around another person, and another goblin stands in front of you with pamphlets, right? He's like, "Your soul is sorely in jeopardy. Your spirit will burn until you follow our deity." He's offering you pamphlets from his deity. Like, for a moment you're just like, "Do you take one?"
No.
Just like this and kind of looking around. Because he's holding up the track for you to take it, right? And you're just like, "No, I'm good, thank you, but I'm good." Walking past, cover the next several steps quickly as you get closer to the center of Hamlin, a city. Now, unlike a lot of other castle cities, this is going to be directly built in the center of this burgeoning city. The walls around the castle are mostly built, with some of the taller parapets and walkways still being constructed, and some of the stairways leading down to the courtyards inside the castle still being built. But as you are walking closer, the half-built castle getting closer and closer to you, it seems now up ahead that large group of soldiers have stopped really close to the open, mostly built castle gate. So as you're getting up closer now, you can already hear where. And again, you can hear voices a lot better than most. And so a city like this, it's almost a constant drown of sound around you from all directions. Let's say you want to roll a d6 to strain all the voices out except for the people. It's 4. Casting your focus up ahead, you're trying your best to listen to what they're saying up there as you're getting closer. you hear, someone needs to come out. It's important. Get out of the way. We don't have time. You're just like, oh, this must be urgent. You're saying it out loud. You're like, urgent? How would you know? He says, I can hear it. You stop and turn and go, you can hear them talking up there? He's like, yeah.
Yeah.
And you're like,
I felt your foot move before you tried to snatch my purse, too.
Did you smell me fart earlier?
bro.
Thank God, no.
Oh, thank God, no. Thank God.
I thought I crop dusted you there for a second when you were following me.
Carefully take off and it goes to wind. He's got wings. Which, because you're wearing leather armor, the leather armor is a leather bit of a molded chest piece in the front. But in the back, it's only got 2 thick strips of leather banding to hold it to you. Under your cape that you wear or your traveler's cloak you have over it are your wings. You don't keep them out unless you intend to use them because, wind and dirt and debris and anyone can come by and scratch it and hit an accident. You keep them under, right? But your leather banding is made in such a way that if you were to pull it off, you could flap the wings right out. Because you're a little older and you haven't yet worked out the nuances of flying blind, you don't use it a whole lot. To coast, to glide, to help you navigate if you're jumping or fighting enemies. But as far as flying, because you can't see, you definitely don't want to attempt that yet because you will for sure probably smack into something in the air.
That makes sense.
And if it's a building, and you're just, don't be that bird.
Yeah.
Thinking it's a window, and you want to fly into it, and it's painted glass. So now to the point to where I can build up a little bit of stuff here. So let me get out my gray blocks. So we'll say that as you're advancing up to this group of soldiers with people all around them, as everyone's making a big bustle and a big fuss, you're walking up and advancing on it to where you can see a bit of what's going on. We'll see the group of soldiers, and these figurines are more for reference. They're not exactly the type of the guy in question. We just use them for a physical reference, just for a sense of the game. So we'll say as these soldiers are all standing around, and we'll say the gate walls are up here. Slide them back a little bit so you guys can see them. With the castle gate wall here, and we'll say the doors are open, allowing anyone to kind of go in. Although the soldiers have shown up here at the gate, and there are a myriad of other people kind of just standing around. Some warriors and adventurers, but other just normal residents of Hamlin City. People just kind of standing around looking to see what's going on. With some of the shops set wide at the sides of the street. So as you two walk up on it, see if I have the visual right here. As you two are walking up on it, they're talking with what now seems to be another group of soldiers inside the castle wall. So we'll say I need more soldiers. Oh, I have an actual soldier. That's funny. Like a World War X soldier. So we'll say as you walk up, this one group of soldiers is talking to another group of soldiers, right? And they're seemingly arguing amongst themselves why this group of soldiers can't come in, right? So as you walk up, they seem to be arguing. One soldier from this group is like, you've got to let us in. We have important, urgent news. We need the prefect to speak with us immediately. This other group here is standing in front of the gate, kind of weapons up, long pikes and spears, looking at this first group, which looks dirty, downtrodden, as if they've been rolling around in dirt, fighting, cuts, rips in their clothing, and marks in their armor, like they've been in an encounter or a skirmish. But this group of soldiers is not letting them in, saying, hold, we need to get authorization from the prefect before you let us in. One of the soldiers here in the front is like, you daft fools, we're from the castle. We need to speak to the prefect immediately. But for some reason, they're just not letting them in. So as the two of you are walking up behind it, and there's some people kind of scattered around, they're arguing amongst themselves why this group of soldiers can't come in. and why this group of soldiers is so adamant about not letting them in. So they're arguing for a couple of seconds, and then 10, 20 seconds as you're kind of eavesdropping a couple steps behind them. So they're arguing amongst themselves. Finally, when it seems like things are getting heated and it's going to get to blows or to where they're going to maybe start fighting about it, you hear what looks like a trumpet call. Be-la-dee-dee-la-dee, or something to that nature. All the soldiers instantly stop arguing, weapons are sheathed, standing up straight, at attention. This group sort of parts a little bit. Can't even see it, we're going to do it. This group parts as an elderly woman starts walking from, again, and looking ahead now that they parted, you can look into the castle courtyard and see some knights training, but mostly building construction. Workers pulling heavy slabs of stone, chiselmen cutting the slabs of rock into pieces, loading them onto crane sections to be pulled up high into the arcing sections of the upper limits of the castle. The lower parts seem to be mostly built, with steps leading up to another double set of castle doors. That story all seems to be built big, dark, gray stone sections and pieces fit snugly together, making what looks like a secure and well defensible castle. The soldier's part, this elderly woman appears to be some kind of a shaman, walks up and she has a stooped over stance, a humped back, white wisping hair, 100 wrinkles on her aged face. Her robes dark, so much of a dark white they're almost a cream color. Walking, hobbling with a staff that has what look like some kind of rings and different kind of things on it that makes a shaking sound as she's walking, which perks up your ears instantly, right? Who is that? She walks forward. All these soldiers inside the gate in unison, slam their weapons against the ground once. Say, "Ho, prefect." She sort of walks forward again like this, hobbling. She comes up to the edge of the gate. And this is all castle wall, with the castle courtyard inside of it, with then the castle even behind that. This is just the wall of the outer perimeter between the city and the castle itself. She comes out, and and as she motions for the soldiers to kind of get closer, she whispers something which would normally be inaudible to many ears. But you're able to pick up the fact that she's telling them to make some of the citizens back away, move back, make a perimeter around the wall, right? Instantly, these three soldiers spring into action, right? Turning around, pushing out towards the crowd and being like, "Oh, back up, prefect's orders, back up everyone. Prefect Amelia has spoken, everyone get back please." So as they start pushing citizens back, you find yourself one or two rows of people back. As it's pushed back into a thick throng of people. As you're all just sort of talking amongst yourselves, people around you like, "Oh, what's going on up there? Is that the prefect? Haven't seen the prefect come out in weeks. There's somebody see something going on." A bustle of different kinds of conversation around you as you're waiting two lines back for these people up here to have some kind of a conversation. Gwen, what's that?
Can I attempt to pickpocket without the hustle and bustle going on?
Yes, you can attempt to pickpocket. Yes, he got the first rave point, rocks the Revan heart. I know you would appreciate that. Rave points are one of the standard systems in this game. When you do something impressive, you get a rave point. That is an 8 on a D8. Maximum success. And roll it again, please.
Nice. Good roll.
That is a deuce. So, successful 8s. A successful 8 on a pickpocket means that, as you guys got pushed back and there's people literally shoulder to shoulder all around you, to where you're able to easily see this dwarven woman in front of you, right? And she's got on apron-esque dresses with the thick brown apron in the front. She looks to be either a bar tavern worker or an inn cleaner or someone that has some kind of a job that involves her hands. And so she's got what looks like a basket of something covered up around her. And she's kind of craning her neck too, trying to look and see what's going on. what's happening? Is that the prefect? So you're kind of standing behind her because she's a dwarven woman. You're like, 2 heads taller than her. As you're kind of backing up a step from the pressure of the crowd bearing on you. So yeah, looking for a moment, you're able to really just kind of reach up with your foot. Wish I could get my foot in the camera. Reach up with your foot and sort of nudge that basket in her hand, loose, kicking it. Hits the ground, right? She goes, oh, with everyone around her. She had to kind of say, oh, watch out. And she scoops up to pick up her basket, right? As soon as she does, you pickpocket, reaching in her inventory and taking out an item. The item that you take out is item she had out of her inventory. It's a rolling pin.
A rolling pin?
It's a rolling pin.
Yay. Does the rolling pin seem magical in any way?
No.
Man. Actually, I'm just gonna be like, ma'am, you dropped this and give it back to her. You don't even want to write that down.
Oh, okay, so then...
Maybe she'll give me a reward for
So then as you hold it up to her, you say, oh, miss, I think you dropped this. Extending the rolling pin. Taking it, she says, an honest lad. She gives you 5 mil.
Oh, let's go.
Hey.
Money, a little bit of money. So as you're, as they're pushing a crowd back, making a perimeter, and the prefect had all these soldiers around her is making their speech, or giving them an announcement, so to speak, you're able to, better than most people around you, to listen in keenly to see what they're saying.
Could I try to move around to get like a closer to him? Outside of the perimeter, of course.
The wall is like this solid, and so you can move in that direction because it's all people, and I can use some regular people just to demonstrate. But it is all just a bunch of people in a couple of lines in front of you. The castle wall, I should say the outer wall, extends in this direction and that direction pretty far. And so you would have to almost move around this way, to try to get around. You can roll a d6 then because it's difficult for you to find a good vantage point.
Yes, yeah. I was just trying to get closer to the wall so I can maybe hear him a little
That you just pickpocketed.
That's a 6 right there, bro.
6. That is max success.
Roll it again.
That's another 6
Oh
right
my god,
there,
2
buddy.
6s.
2 6s. So on the first 6, you get a bonus roll. On the second roll, if you hit that 6, you get 1 more bonus roll. And Rox will tell you that if you hit 3 6s in a row, it unlocks a skill based on whatever move you were committing. That is a 4. He was so close. So close.
Man.
Still got 2 6s though.
So that is maximum success on that. So yeah, you're able to scoot around a little bit until you're in between shoulder of 2 people to where you can really crane in close to try to listen well. I will say there's people all around you guys. A whole line of people as you're trying your best to listen in. Trying your best to drop eaves. We'll say it that way. Keep grabbing ladies. Trying to get everybody. So the first thing that you hear as you creep your ears in and lean forward a little bit, with just one line of people in front of you, you hear, "It's something dark, I know, and it seems to be foreboding. I don't know what to do about it. The king isn't here. We're going to have to try to hold things off until someone from the royal family arrives. I'm just a prefect. I don't have the authority or the power to deal with this. So we're going to need you guys to summon a big meeting with all the soldiers, all the mercenaries we currently have hired, and anyone else that you want to hire that's respectable and honest for this job. Something dark is coming, and I don't know what to do because the king isn't here." As you're listening in on this, as the prefect again hobbled over with her staff, expelling all this information, some of the soldiers around her have gone ashen pale in their complexions, watching on, just startled by this information. It seems she's saying that something is going to happen, something is coming, and she seems ill-equipped to handle it because she's not nobility or royalty. She's part of a prefecture, which are people that are trusted to watch over things while the royalty's away, almost like a stewardship.
Okay.
So as she's giving them this information that, I had a vision. I saw something dark. I saw fire. I saw smoke. I heard screaming, shrill in the distance. This was certainly an omen of things to come. I feel incredibly unsettled. I've already sent out our fastest scouts to Rakapa to bring either the prince or the king back at most haste to help us in this troubling time. I'm afraid they may not get here soon enough. And so right now, soldiers of Hamlina, I need you to go out, get every able-bodied soldier, spread the word that we're maximizing all the security around the city. We're going to hire every able-bodied mercenary that will work for us to keep eye and guard until the king can arrive. We can only hope that whatever dark omen is coming, that the king will arrive or the prince before it happens. So taking all that information in, you just start shaking your head like, oh, I showed up at the wrong time.
Can I sense if he's near me so I can go and try and relay that message to him? Like what's going on?
Yeah, so he's only 3 or 4 people away in the crowd. So as you're able to shuffle back over to him, you and again, you know him now by his scent. Being a Khajiit, there aren't many of them around. You'll see them every now and again. But he just smells like fur. He just kind of smells. He has that bit of a musky feline odor. So you're able to kind of pick up on it right away.
So I walk back up to him and I say, "You smell like cats."
Bro, I get that a lot.
Shuffling up next to him, you say, "Oh man, whoever this prefecture is, she just had a lot of bad stuff to say." You just sort of giving him the basic gist of what it was you were talking about. She said something dark is coming, and she really can't handle it. She summoned the king or the prince, but she doesn't think they're going to get here in time. To which you reply,
"Oh well, let's go find another mark."
Shrugging.
Hey, I will say, but military pickpockets though.
All right, I'll consider it. Like, we'll see.
So taking the information, you just shrug and you go, "I'm just here to steal until I can make enough money to where I can kind of move on." He's like, "I don't want to be caught up in all this stuff going on. This seems like something bad is going to happen. And people are going to die." As soon as you say that, you weren't really checking your volume. We're going to check if anybody around you heard you. Roll 2 4s. Some of the people in front of you turn and just go, talking amongst themselves anyways about what they thought the prefecture was mentioning. Somebody ahead of you says, "Oh, I know what this is. Surely it's a raid from some neighboring kingdom. Surely they knew that we're building this castle city here, and they finally come to do something about it. There was no way that they were going to let us make a castle city here. Surely they're coming to do war, to wage battle." Another person ahead of you in the group, another figure is like, "Tets, there's no way that's true." It's like, surely they have uncovered some deep magical artifact, I'm sure, and or some rich treasury trove that they're trying to bring back before, so that we can show the king and add to his wealth. Surely the soldiers must have navigated some dark labyrinth or some maze or some mine to find something to bring back for the prefecture. Whether that's true or not, the people around you now, looking ahead at who's talking and what's happening, are all just sort of abuzz with conversation and gossip about what's happening. You did hear a little closer, so you have a little bit better information, and you don't seem to care.
That's right.
I'm just gonna stop relaying anything to them. I'm just gonna be quiet.
So as they continue sort of talking amongst themselves up here, all of a sudden these soldiers turn and talk to these soldiers who are holding that line of people who are, what's going on? What's happening? Getting them, pushing them back a little bit. They're like, "Nothing to see, guys. Everything's kind of over. Nothing to really report or announce. The prefecture's going to go back to the castle. Guys, what are you like trying to get everyone to move away?" The people are like, "Oh, what's happening? What's going on? You guys keep in such a hurry." but they're not answering any questions. They're all being very silent. They're trying to get the crowd to knock the wall down, trying to get the crowd to disperse. Eventually, the crowd does start to disperse, walking off in different directions, grumbling about news and what's happening. But you can already feel the ripple of the rumors radiating through the busy street behind you. You have no doubt it'll be on the mouths of many shopkeepers and tavern goers throughout the day and probably into the week. Events like this just don't seem to happen very often. Arriving at Hamlin City. You get there, and again, you haven't been to the city before. You've been trying to get here for a week or so in traveling. I mean, it has an outer wall, tall, gray set stone going around, and it's a good-sized village, to say that, becoming a town or a city. A lot of tight, packed houses nestled up together, stretching further behind them into living areas, industrial areas, some antiquity shops or finer shops behind them perhaps nestle in. As soon as you walk in, people around you instantly, as you kind of walk around a person, you say, "Pardon," and they turn and go, "Oh, a Namekian." You're just like, "Yes," walking past them, not even breaking gaze ahead of you. Again, to see a Namekian around is rarer than an avian, rarer than a Khajiit. It's something that people would only see in a world or a realm like this every once and again. So incredibly rare. The whole city sort of envelopes you in just a moment. It's very busy. Again, people walking up and down the streets, selling wares, talking amongst themselves, heading to work perhaps, pickaxes or instruments over their back, their tools that they're using. You see children running about through the streets, dressed in basic clothes or rags. And again, it's just very bustling shops on the right and the left with big signs displayed. And you can hear the clanging of steel from a smithy and the sharp bustling of conversation and the commotion of footsteps shuffling around you. Magic in the city, because you're a dark mage, the magic in the city is pervasive. You can sense it coming from just about every direction. From people, from buildings and places, from things set on shelves, on carts as you're walking past them. You're not really sure which way to go, so you just, as you taking in all the sights of Hamlin City, start walking straight up the center, and taking everything in. As you're walking again, you feel something tug on your clothes. Turning, it's a really young, we'll say it's a goblin girl, right? No hair, just goblin ears, green skin, wearing rags, holding on nothing but a wooden tray, and on it looked to be rice cakes, right? They have a drizzle of some brown substance on them. She just looks up at you and says, "Buy a honey cake, sir. It's only 10 mil a piece."
No thanks, I'm watching my girlish figure.
You say, roll these 6. 3. You say, I wouldn't eat that food for anything. Please, be gone from my sight. She turns and scampers back into the crowd as you continue pushing your way up the street. So there are a multitude of inns. There are shops and taverns here. There is a weapons shop. You can see the sign, crossed swords. There is a magic shop which sells magic books, magic items, curiosities, basic magic gear and accessories, and all sorts of things like that too. There is a basic item shop, a general goods store, all manner of shops stretching up this main center street. As enough time has passed now to where the sun is creeping up almost overhead, right? And it's, again, you get the occasional gust of wind moving through the street, but it's mostly just settling in to be a warm, perhaps a bit of a hot, sweaty day.
I'm gonna just post up and sit somewhere and start meditating again.
Nice, definitely go ahead. A 1.
Oh God.
So taking several steps further up north into the center of the city, you find as good a spot as any. A spot in front of a building looking like a bit of a tavern. I guess an earthquake going on. A bit of a tavern. And so you decide then to walk up to the tavern, and not going in, you want to lean up against it and take a moment to try to meditate. So as you do, you pick the first tavern that you see walking north along the street. Stopping, leaning up against the wall like this, we'll say like this. You know, watching the people going by you in either direction, mingling, talking amongst themselves. You close your eyes and take a deep breath and attempt to meditate. Trying to drown out all the sounds around you. Trying to drown out all distractions. Nothing but your inner mind and your inner sense of focus. After just a moment you think you might have it, but the sun is shining too brightly on you, the sounds of commerce and people around you is just too much, it's too bustling, it breaks your concentration, you're unable to meditate. Opening up your eyes again, you just look at the people passing by you in the street and just shake your head. Roll 1d6.
A 5.
A 5. You say, if they all had but one neck. Seems to be your temperament.
I'd wring it right out.
So as you again continue to stand there watching people bustle back and forth, looking up far ahead where the castle gate is, leading into what would be the castle courtyard area, you see the doors open. There's a large procession of soldiers standing around it as if something's going on. Shrugging, I mean, you're just like. One thing that you like to do when you reach your city as well is try to go to a tavern and check to see if there are jobs to do, which amount to side quests. You can pick up a side quest if there's one. You would have to ask any tavern keeper or any shopkeeper if they have any side quests or extra jobs to do, or if they know of any places that are looking for work. A city like this will almost certainly have a couple of guilds, a couple of groups of adventurers or warriors that will take on warriors to do tasks to help them out. Being that you're a mage, and a dark mage at that, you specialize in dark magic, evil magic, impure magic, also anti-holy magic, things that are the antithesis to light magic and holy magic. You specialize in those too. So taking a moment, letting out another deep breath, you furrow your brow, you're wondering if you're going to be able to find a place in this seemingly do-gooder town that will be able to entertain your darker notions. Roll d6.
A 6?
That is a 6. Roll it again.
Oh.
1. So on a 6, you know they've got to have churches here, right? And so they might not be the churches you're looking for, but I guess it'd be a good place to start as any. So looking one way down the street and the other, you just start to take off, going back towards the center of the city, right? So as you do, and there's people walking this way, talking about something, and people darting in front of you, trying to get to the shop over here on the side, not saying, excuse me. Everything about this town is big, and people are tight together. It almost makes you a little claustrophobic for just a moment. Just so tight and close and loud and just rambunctious. Overwhelming for a moment. As you walk up ahead, keeping your cloak drawn in close around you, occasionally a person kind of stops for a second, looking at you, Namekian, pretty rare. So as you walk up closer, you do see that down this left-hand street, there is what appear to be a couple of churches. But as you get up to that section, the castle wall, outer wall is just a scant 40, 50 feet ahead of you. They're going to try to take some actions now as you're walking up behind. You're not even on the camera, you're so far back. We have a 6. I'm going to roll that again. A 2. Well, on a 6, the prefect who was standing here issuing orders, right? Instantly she gets a sense of something going on, in her chest, right? She instantly says, move, 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 telling the soldiers to part, right? They all part ways as she leaves the gate, just seemingly in a fervent, moving ahead, telling the soldiers to get out of the way. She, as the soldiers start to form a bit of a a phalanx next to her, she runs up to the crowd. And like, oh, move out of the way, move out of the way. As everyone starts to begin to break and part, and as you two sort of do the same, she actually walks with the soldiers in tow right past you. We'll say this is her, these are her soldiers, and they're all going to walk in a formation right past you, right? And as you're walking up, oblivious to what's happening, the crowd suddenly parts, and this ancient priestess, long, thinning hair on top, with this shaking, rattling cane, long cream robes, shuffling towards you as fast as her hobbled steps can carry her. Yup, she suddenly shakes her staff directly at you as she's walking closer. You stop frozen for a moment. She goes, "What business do you have in Hamlin City? Why are you here? Are you here to spread evil and corruption amongst us?" To which you reply,
I saw a wicked vision in my meditation. I'm wanting to know what's behind it.
She pulls the staff away and leans up with, her eyes again are all semi-clouded as you have the chance to literally look at them. They appeared to have been blue long ago, but now you only see the briefest color of that as her eyes seem to be mostly clouded over from cataracts or perhaps something else. Casting a gaze close up at you like this, she seems to wave her staff in front of you for a moment, and it's just you get the briefest hint and flicker of magic dancing out from it. It's imperceptible to see, but you can sense it. She looks at you up and down again and says, "Having visions, eh? Did you see yourself in those visions?
I don't think so.
Did you see your hands or your feet or your face anywhere?
I don't believe I did.
Did you see people around you? Were they running?
There was some shock of others, for sure."
Again, casting you a suspicious glance. She says, "Will you come with me to the castle?"
Don't mind if I do.
So as the soldiers form a bit of a circle around you, they're going to sort of surround you a little bit. And along with the prefect, they're all going to turn and escort you back towards the castle. Like this. Watching all this take place, you see obviously that it's a Namekian. Even behind his cloaks, you can see the green skin and the short antlers stubbing out. And you're just like, a Namekian. As soon as you say that, the people around you that didn't know let out murmurs and hushed whispers. Namekian. They're known for generally being dark, evil. That isn't universally true. There have been known to be some good ones or benevolent ones, but the majority of the time, they're known for being very dark and very, very sort of shady, and a lot of them being warlocks or dark mages or something like that. But as soon as you see him, then as the priestess seems to be talking to him, because of your hearing, you were able to hear the entire conversation. So it seems that he had a similar vision to the one that she had, mysteriously enough. We don't know a whole lot about dark mages, other than that they're known to have been implicated in a lot of disasters and a lot of things happening. Are they trustworthy? You're not really sure. You've never met one personally to say. But the prefect seems super interested in what the Namekian was saying. So as the soldiers group up around them, she aims to take him into the castle. 4, 5, 6. People, watching, listening, people. No follower. So they go to take you into the castle, right? And as soon as you would, we'll say you enter the courtyard through the door, with these soldiers parting to make way to let you through. All right, you get into the courtyard, and as she starts to take you towards the castle itself, you get to see a bit more of the inside of the castle wall. And there are some knights here. Some of them are sparring with wooden swords and wooden shields. Others are in a bit of a crudely drawn circle in the dirt, squaring off against each other with back of the hand attacks, which you recognize as a test of strength that people use in this realm called Edarok. It's pretty familiar. Everyone does it. It's a test of strength that you can do between somebody else. You just walk up to them and challenge them to Edarock, and someone will draw a circle. You guys will put your hands up against each other in the ring, and it's whoever can hit the other player twice first wins the match. You see some knights, Edarock sparring viciously in a circle with a couple of knights around them watching. You see what look like archers on the other side of the courtyard, practicing their archery, slinging arrows into tufts of hay yards away. Thunk, thunk, thunk. You even see a royal court mage or two up against the wall where the doors are of the castle itself, up against a bit of a tree line there inside of the wall, practicing basic magician spells. It is oh so familiar, isn't it, Rox? I know. Edarock is oh so familiar. It is truly one of the games of champions. The game of equality, call it that, where any two people that step inside of it are equal and are the same. To which everyone here is super familiar with Edarock already. I promise you, Rox. I promise you. You see knights doing that as well. You see archers lining up shots. You see very basic royal wizards or mages casting basic spells. Bits of fire or ice or lightning dancing up from their hands as they're attempting to cast basic spells. Hey, and if you are one of the great ones amongst the great five, then you will definitely get your due. You'll get your moment due. You will get your moment due. Talking about Zelgadis, bro. I know that he knows who Zelgadis is because they've encountered Zelgadis in previous campaigns. And Zelfer and Hanzao and Loberg to a lesser extent, and Rox, of course, though your character is always a bit harder to find because you dwell in the darkness, my friend. You dwell in the darkness. Rox, again, being the Reverend Heart, knows of what I speak. So as you watch them take him inside, and you, in a moment, take in all of this surrounding you inside the castle courtyard, and you're watching them all go in. People standing around you, slack-jawed, wide-eyed, and wonder, how's the Namekian? Oh, is that what this is all about? Were they waiting for him? They just took him into the castle. Did they know who he was? I've never seen him before. What's going on? Everyone around you bustling in conversation. So we'll leave you there for a moment as you're walking in, and you two sort of watching them take this Namekian in shock and surprise. What would your actions be?
We could try to tag along and say we're with them.
Yeah.
What's your charisma?
My charisma is a 2.
Mine's 3. I could try to lie our way in.
I'll try and help him.
All right, well, some of these soldiers are going to work to stop you.
Of course.
As the two of you taking advantage of the gap in people as they walked in, a bit of a void there, trotting up behind it. You go to run up behind this Namekian fellow to get entrance into the castle gate. 2 soldiers come up instantly. And again, they all have the same dark red cloaks, spears or halberds with that dark copper armor, copper belt with dark red tunic, dark red trousers, and the knee high boots, we'll say. They stand there, boom. He's like, no one is allowed entrance at this time. Are you going to try something?
We're with the Namekians. This is the first time in the city. We were kind of helping them. We're kind of like the only thing he has to like a friend here. It'd be probably a little intimidated and scared going in there surrounded by all these guards. You know, how many guards does it take to escort a Namekian?
Oh, well, I mean, you roll a d6. Your charisma is 3. That is a 4. 2 soldiers. Oh, wow. That is a 1 and a 3.
Let's go!
Oh!
They get no charisma bonuses because they're basic soldiers. So as you're pleading your case, you're like, oh, we were with that guy. I can't believe he didn't even tell us to come in. He should have waved us in. Yelling up ahead at him. You're like, hey, buddy, are you going to let us in with you or what? Hearing that noise, you turn around and see what looks like a Khajiit. And he must be a street thief by the look of him. He got a bit of a cloak going over half of him like this, a feline complexion, the hair and the fur. And he's like this, like pointing at you, like, hey man, you were going to let us in. What gives? We're with you. You give him a quizzical look. Next to him is an avian fellow, 6'2", broad-shouldered, the feathers all going down his face and everything to where you can definitely see that he's blindfolded as well. He appears to be just kind of standing there like this. As the Khajiit next to him is like, oh man, what, how could you do this? Let us in. What will you do?
I was wondering where my Khajiit and avian friends were.
Yes, let's go.
I've been walking around for hours looking for those two. Get them in here.
The prefect is a different story.
I want to smirk at the guard as I walk by.
Well, the prefect rolls a 6, as would be befitting for the prefect to roll.
Yeah.
The prefect hits the 6. So she pushes her way back through the crowd of soldiers to welcome you at the front gate. Oh man, you guys can't even see it because of the camera angles. You will see. Door, prefect, Drum the Namekian, soldier. Oh, really? Stand up. Soldier. I'll flip it over, then we'll stand up. You got it? Nice. The prefect walks up to you. The prefect walks up to you both, right? And waving her shaking shaman staff past you one time. She instantly gets a sense of who you are and your motivations, right? Oh yeah, it's like that. Casting a hand out to the avian fellow, she says, Birdman, it has been a while since my eyes have seen such a graceful avian fellow. Do you truly walk with this Namekian?
He called me friend, I will call him friend.
She says, and you call him friend. Do you know his heart?
Oh no. We've only recently become friends, so we will see where this what is the?
I'm gonna chime in and be like, "There's a fine line between acquaintance and friends." You know,
that's kind of what I'm alluding to.
A fine line between acquaintance and friend, he says. Well, as you say, yeah. You want to roll a d6 for it, actually. You can go ahead.
Yeah. Like something like we're in the beginnings of forming a party.
3. With a 3, halfway in the middle, you say, I've been traveling in this Namekian now for about a week. He seems fair-hearted. And his strength in battle has been proven tenfold. So she gives you a bit of a raised eyebrow, as if maybe she can tell that you're lying. But giving you a raised eyebrow, she turns over and looking at you. She says, "You, thief, do you know this Namekian?"
He's paying me to take him around the city, and he hasn't paid me yet. So you know my intention with that. I'm here for the gold that he's supposed to pay me. It's my job. I don't know what he's gonna do if he goes off with you. So I'm trying to get out of the city, honestly. So it'd be more incentive for you to just let me come in and finish the job.
So as you explain everything to her, she nods up and down solemnly and says, "Well, though you are a man of loose morals, you are at least honest in that regard." He says, "Promise me you won't make away with any of this castle's treasures, and I will let you accompany your friends." You got to promise you won't try to steal anything.
No, I just did. I just said it. You just didn't.
All right. Lowering your head, you shake it for a second and say, "I promise." Looking you up and down, she says, "I'll have all of my eyes on you."
Ooh, thanks.
Okay. So, allowing you to come with the Namekian, she invites you into the castle walls. So as soon as you come inside, let's see, these soldiers are all going to back up. Now, the door to the castle was about to swing shut, but something is going to happen first. Well, with a 5 and a 3, I can't say it'll be a lot, but Just then, as you guys walk inside of the perimeter castle wall, and the doors are about to close, a sharp, bitter wind blows through the center of the city, hitting everyone here at the same time. It just whips its way through. As you guys are watching, hats go flying off, cloaks go billowing up, items roll and fall off of carts and shelves and roll into the street. As a huge gust of wind whistles, right? Ruffling your feathers under your armor and just chilling everyone for just a moment. As quickly as it went away, it dies down. Until the prefect stops, turns again and looks out towards the southern edge of the city. All the people kind of bustling. Another huge, sharp gust of wind just blasts out from nowhere, whipping your hair back over your face and causing your cloak to billow out from you and causing more hats to fall off and people to kind of... It was a huge gust of wind, seemingly supernatural in nature or magical. And before you guys can even have a chance to react, all of a sudden, clouds blot the sky. It had been sunny all morning. As everything goes shaded for, as clouds now break over the sun's gaze, it's all darkened for a moment, right? As that wind begins to blast again and then be steady, whistling between legs and through arms and through each streets and rising up over the castle, causing a whistling sound. The wind increases and increases and increases. The prefector, looking at the soldiers, she goes, "You idiots! Close the gate! Close the gate!" As you guys all bustle inside, two of the soldiers will say, "I'm falling over." As everyone goes to bustle inside, do you guys want to run inside while they close the door?
Yes. Yeah.
Running inside, the guards are going to... Two of them are going to get behind the door like this, and as they go to push it hard closed like this... Oh, I can even see it on the... They're trying to push the heavy door shut. Not that hard, guys.
Can we help them?
Yeah, I want to help them.
Can we work together to
I can.
help them?
I'm sure that I can feel that door closing off to the side if I felt him walking up behind me.
Yeah, as they were going to come around, you want to come around to help, we'll say... It's kind of like this as you're coming around to help. Yeah, that's Rock's talking about. His many loose morals leading him to sweet death. to death's sweet embrace. As you were going to come around and help close the door, the next wind that blows so hard it causes their motion to stop as the door was closing. For a moment, it's also pushing them back, sliding as they're trying to move it. Watching in disbelief, the three of you come around to steady it, to bring it closer. But just then, you hear at the far end of the city shouts, cries of alarm, things getting hit, knocked over, the sounds of what could be battle. It's hard to tell. But we're going to go ahead and kick it up a little. So now the prefect says, there's no time. Raise the parapets. Archers, take your positions. Bring all the soldiers and the knights. We're under attack. These soldiers easily abandon what they were doing and go running off in this direction. As all the soldiers start to break away, some of them coming up and forming a line here at the doorway, while these other guys are working to close it. Will you guys stay inside or head outside as they're closing the door?
We'll stay inside and I'll help them close the door.
Okay. Okay, so these soldiers are outside. Three of you coming around behind it. Helping them, you help them push the heavy oaken door made of thick planks, closed and shut. It does have two of those heavy hooks on it to where you can put the big heavy wooden plank to prevent the door from being opened. As two of the soldiers reach over and grab it, they slide it over. They boom, locking it into place. So it seems to be fortified with the three of you on the inside. And the walls itself are, these walls are maybe 20, 25 feet high. As you guys are on the inside of the wall now, you then hear raised voices coming from outside, right? You then hear the drawing of swords, and you hear the rustling of wheels and the shuffling of feet. And then you start to hear something magical. You hear magic hitting stone, debris flying, people screaming and running in terror. You hear the cries of children and the shouts of people in panic. The crossing of steel and and fighting as what appears to be a battle starts to wage in the city on the other side of this wall. At first, it's just sounds. Again, the clanging of steel together, people hitting the ground, things getting knocked over, a sudden gust of magical flame, and more things hitting rock, debris spraying, ground flying up, dirt shuffling. You can hear all these different sounds of battle all happening at the same time. As you three with the soldiers, and we'll say, as opposed to this side of the wall, we'll say our view switches to the other side of the wall. Soldier, and you three watching and waiting to see what's going to happen. The prefect has retreated back into the castle.
Can I ask for a bow and arrow to lend aid on the wall?
Go ahead, roll d6. Call up to the soldier ahead of you. 3. Yelling up ahead, you say, a bow. Not even looking back at you. He points over to that side of the courtyard against the corner where the archers were over there shooting. There's, of course, racks, bows, and arrows set over there.
Can I run over there? Please.
Taking off running, you start sprinting for the. See if I can get a little bit more space there. Perfect. Drum. Here, Irvin, right here. You ran off to go get a weapon. As these soldiers, now we'll say there's a trio of them, are weapons drawn up against the wall of the gate, listening intently as now the screams of people being killed and the flare of magic and the slamming of something hard against wood or stone, the splintering of rock and the slashing of steel, all just ringing out over you from the other side of the wall. You hear glass breaking and you hear just all sorts of sounds as there seems to be what appears the sounds now as a high-pitched battle happening somewhere in Hamlin City. With the three of you standing watch on the other side, waiting from inside the castle courtyard. Minutes go by as this tense battle from outside the wall continues and rages on. You're not sure who's winning, who's losing, or who's even attacking. You never got a chance to see anything. As the tense minutes pass, all of a sudden something heavy hits the door. Boom! Causing it to rattle. Everyone steps back a bit. The soldiers all go back a half step, right? Tense looking around. A couple moments go by with again the sound of flames and cries and battle in the background behind it. You then feel another boom as something hard and heavy hits the door again. That one plank that you have in place holding it shut is still holding. But as you're all watching, tentatively waiting to see what happens, another time, boom! And now as you're waiting, suddenly smoke begins to rise from the top. And it's the door with the high stone walls over top of it, and now smoke is beginning to rise from the top of the wall, from directly on the other side. It was a wisp at first, and now as you hear the of fire, of loud open flames, smoke is rising from the spot just on the other side of the wall, drifting up like this, getting harder and getting heavier. Backing up 2 steps away from the door, one of the soldiers says, "Ha! I can already feel the heat. They're gonna burn the door down."
Have I gotten the bow and arrow yet?
We'll say during that time while they were waiting, you were able to run across the courtyard, grab the first bow you could see, and a quiver of arrows. So you've had some experience with them, Matt.
Yeah, please.
Having some experience with them, you're able to, as you put the quiver loosely over your shoulder, draw an arrow out, and to take your position again behind them as they're waiting, anticipating something to break through, burn through, or storm through the wall.
I'll go ahead and notch an arrow.
Yeah, you got an arrow.
Arrows do I get?
The quiver seemed to have 10 arrows in it.
Could I use
What
my...
bow is it? Just
We'll just say
bow,
it's a
longbow?
cypress bow. It's a cypress.
Cypress.
Could I use my blind sense to maybe get a better idea of like how many people are left outside of the door or what?
Because of the wall there, some of it won't work, but blind sense is where you stop and attempt to use your enhanced senses to get a sense of your surroundings. So go ahead, definitely. Well, on the deuce, you can hear that there must be people directly on the other side of the wall. You hear the shuffling of their feet. You could almost at one point have even heard the shoom of a magic spell, right? Hitting the wall. That must be what's causing perhaps the fire. You can also hear again heavy shuffling motions on the other side here of someone or something, right? Letting them know, like there must be something casting magic over there, something with fire. You confirm that they're trying to burn their way through. So as you're with your arrows knocked, do you want to try to consider a spell or ready a spell, or just get, or to attempt to have one chambered and ready to cast?
Do I have time to maybe go grab a bow and a quiver?
You would have, because of your strength and your lack of proficiency with a bow, you would almost certainly get a negative modifier to it every time you shot it.
Never mind.
No, but you can still definitely shoot it if you want to. It is a bow and it's a simple weapon. Anyone can pick it up and use it. Your efficiency with it is a different question.
Are there any other weapons readily available in the area?
Looking around, it's all the soldiers in front of you holding their pikes. They all have short swords over their back. You could literally reach up and grab one of their swords and pull it out.
I will grab one of the swords.
Roll a d6 just to make sure we got that.
A 6.
A 6. Ooh. 6. Roll it again. Another 6. Another 6. Are we going to have the triple 6 already? Been playing for an hour and a half.
Oh my god.
Dude, that's the way it works, though.
That's the way she goes.
That's right, Mira. He almost had it. You saw.
So close.
So close. So close. So as you as that soldier, and we'll say he was a human fellow, above average of size, with a long ponytail, holding his halberd up, waiting for something to hit the gate. As he does, you just reach up behind him, grabbing the hilt of his short sword, drawing it out, holding it in front of you like this. Because your strength is 2, and this is a progressive D6 system, he almost did get a skill, you're right. And that would have been literally a weapon stealing skill from an opponent if he'd have landed it. That's absolutely right. You draw the weapon, poised. The way the PD6 system works, once your strength gets to a certain part, you can then equip bigger weapons, do more strengthier things, and it also affects the dice you roll. Because your strength is 2, and it's not yet 3, for these attacks, you're going to be rolling a 1d4 instead of a 1d6. But there are still attacks of opportunity, there's still advantage, so it isn't like you won't have opportunities to maybe do a little more. But as of right now, as you're holding it shakily in front of you, you haven't wielded a sword very often, but you feel like in a pinch you can maybe get a swing and get a strike. The adrenaline is already pumping in the three of you as the smoke gathering now. It was gray, and now it's thick black clumps of smoke rising up from the other side of the wall. It's now from the crack, around the cracks of the wall now, smoke starts to begin to waft out a little bit at a time, right? And if you were to edge closer, because of your senses, the front of your fur and your feathers can almost feel the heat radiating off the wall in waves as it's getting hotter and hotter.
Could I do something?
Of course.
Could I go over now? I know I don't have like any skills with my wings yet, like at all. Could I go over and like put both hands on the wall and try to follow the wall up, like unfurl my wings and try to just fly up the wall while being in contact with the wall?
So you can run, and you can dash at the wall, and you can try to get up it. I don't know that it will work because your slow falling move will let you flutter your wings a little bit to help you fall slower.
Okay.
But
just have it develop.
But because you're an avian and you be standing straight, jumping, fluttering the wings, you won't have to worry about hitting something as you fly straight up. So if you want to attempt it, you can run up to the wall. Do you have a move for that, or would this be just a spontaneous? It's fine.
Just no, I don't. I got fluttering attack, but I don't think that's it.
That's more of a leaping attack where you use the wings to give you added momentum in the distance. So, roll 1d6. That's right. Rock says go for it. And so, moving up to the wall here, shoulder to shoulder with this soldier, he looks over at you as you slowly pull off your cloak, right? Revealing, and then the huge cream-colored feathery wings just unfurl, right? And they're about as tall as you, right? And they go down, almost down to the backs of your knees, how big they are. Right? So, looking up, putting your head up for a moment. I shouldn't say you're looking because your eyes don't work. You crouch for just a moment. As soon as you hop up in the air, your wings sweep out from underneath you, pumping once. And because you're an avian, your bones are hollow, meaning that your weight in this game, without gear, without effects, is only about 90 pounds. Because your bones are hollow. And so the first one lifts you up into the air, 3 feet. Woo. The second one, woo, up into the air again, as your hands are hitting the sides of the door. And as soon as you do, it's hot, singeing almost, to where you can almost barely put your hands on it. It's once and twice again, you roll a 4. You one more hard time like this, and your body shoots up. It wasn't high enough to get over, though. As now you're 12 feet in the air, the wall an easy 20 feet. You didn't make it. But now as you feel yourself starting to kind of slide back down, you flip your wings out in front of you like this, allowing you to glide backwards for just a moment. And as you catch your feet back here and land on your feet, your wings sort of flutter back behind you. Shake your head, you weren't able to muster the vertical strength needed in one jump to clear it. Not that you couldn't try it again, but something is about to happen now as a boom hits the doors this time, causing that wood plank in the center holding it to crack right in the middle and break. Both halves of it fall in, and the whole thing falls away. The door now is, as the soldiers now throw themselves up against the wall, pushing against it with all their strength, you can hear their hands singeing, burning up against it from the heat as they plow their bodies up against it defensively. Yes, Rox, he did learn a little something about how his wings work, and so even if it didn't succeed, it gives him some information. Their bodies singeing, little trails of smoke coming off their hands as they're holding it with all their strength, holding the door closed, putting their literal bodies on the line. The next boom that hits it causes them all to knock back for a second and all rush up against it again, slamming their bodies into it. One of them calls for aid as some of the knights who are up on the stairway, going up there with spears on top of the parapet, start coming down in ones and twos. Before you know it, there are 2 more soldiers. We'll say it's 2 more knights, and they have the copper armor in the front, copper arm plating, copper greaves, copper knee plating, the whole bit of copper armor, with iron swords over their backs. They run up behind those 3 soldiers, and they press up against the door too, trying to hold it still with all their strength. So as the 3 of you are standing there waiting for something to burst through, those 5 soldiers are putting all their bodies in place as boom, another something hits it. And then boom again. The second time, the door opens up enough to where you can literally see the flames dancing out of the crack, flickering out. There's a huge fire already mounted behind it, you can already tell. The heat wafts over you in an instant. It's intense. You don't know how these soldiers are standing so close. Surely their hair must be singeing, and their eyebrows and their facial hair must be singeing off of their faces.
I look over him and I say, that's a heck of a distraction.
Oh my God.
So you gonna pick pockets right now?
I kind of wanted to climb up onto the parapet.
There are stairways. If you go down one end and the other, there are stone stairways leading up to 20 feet to the top wall. So if you wanted to, there may be a turn to left before whatever's breaks through. You do have time and opportunity to do that if you wish.
I would like to do that.
Yeah, I'm gonna hang my head and just go the other way to the other to the other stairway because I couldn't fly up.
So do you want to follow him or go the other direction?
You said that there was one both ways?
Yes.
Yeah. Whichever way he goes, I'm gonna split that.
I want to go to the closest one.
All right, both of you roll a d6. Your agility is 4. Yours is also 4.
We're fast.
You guys picked some fast classes. That's a 1. I don't think you're going to make it first. And that is a 5. You'll make it first. So as as you cast a look over at him and try to make a signal, he doesn't seem to notice. having to take a step over and tap him on his shoulder, right? You yell, "I'm going up the stairs." And as you turn and run away, in this direction, you're going to turn and run in this direction. As at the end of the long castle walls, I shouldn't say castle perimeter wall, there's stairways leading up to where the outer wall tip would be. And there are those tall, cylindrical bit of stations on the corners where a couple people can even stand inside with a window where you can fire arrows out. So as you both run in those directions, you're the first one to hit the steps, sprinting up the top. There's a knight coming down, you gotta shift out of the way. As you get to the top, you're finally able to look out over Hamlin, a city before you. In the last 12 minutes you've been waiting, the city now seems to be completely set in siege. Many of the buildings are on fire. People are running, fleeing for their lives as soldiers in the middle of the streets. And as you look out on top of some of the buildings, spilling out of the buildings, in the alleyways, all below you are all engaged in battle with these, they must be hounds, for lack of calling a better term. They're these big, dark black with gray striped canine beasts, but they look supernatural. Huge gnashing teeth, wild high arcing black spiky manes, and huge paws with tipped claws are bounding around the city, tackling people, knocking them over, eating them, engaging with the soldiers as they're valiantly trying to clash steel and spell with them, climbing up the sides of buildings or jumping into windows to surprise people and kill them. The whole middle of the city is all besieged by these strange monsters with fire littering all around as you watch. The moment is just so incredibly powerful that it stops you as you're just watching it all take place in a ghastly scene.
A natural enemy. Dogs are stupid. Can't take a shot.
I mean, being that they're canine, the hairs on the back of the fur on the back of your neck stands up on end, and on the back of your arms you feel it stand up on end as a bit of a feral hiss or something rises up from inside your throat. You can roll a d6 for it. That is a 5. You let out an instinctive as you draw the arrow again, as you draw the bow again, knock the arrow and prepare to fire. As you're running up the opposite steps on the other side, you run up. Your cloak is your cloak off?
Yeah, because I
wings exposed. As you're bounding up the steps, every time you bound up, your wings flutter out a little bit. As you're bounding up the steps, getting to the top, the same grisly scene that expands before his view is different for you because you can't see. As you rise over the top, the full sweep of the senses engulf you. You can smell blood. You can smell fire. You can smell death. You can hear the screeching echoes of the injured and the dying in the streets. You can also hear the scratching, the thrashing, the gnashing, the ripping and rending of claws and teeth of monsters. You can almost hear their reverberations as they're pounding around. You hear the swiping of steel. You hear the clashing of bodies hitting against stone and wall. And again, the plaintive cries of people that are injured crawling away as monsters set themselves upon them with no hope to escape. All of this takes into your senses in just a moment, and you feel a great swell of pity that the innocent people of Hamlin, a city, have just been besieged by these. I mean, you don't recognize the monsters because you can't really see them, but you can tell that they're quadrupedal, running on 4 feet, and they're loud, gnashing with teeth. You can hear the rending of claws, so you can tell that they're some kind of ferocious quadrupedal monsters that are running along the ground, jumping, scraping up walls, again crashing through windows violently, chasing people through the streets while the soldiers are working to fight them the best they can. All the while, fire is starting to spread through some of the buildings along the rooftops. You can feel the heat coming from the fire that's been set directly on the heavy wooden door of the castle gate. You can't see it, but you can. They've put what looks like a big bonfire there, right? And so you're able to see on this other side. And so we'll say there's wizards. There's a couple of wizards that are standing outside of the gate. These aren't these greyhounds, which I can't call them greyhounds because that's definitely already a thing. We'll call them Basker Hounds. So as you see all these Basker Hounds desperately throwing themselves at soldier and villager and shopkeeper alike, the only non-monster enemies that you may see are right down here at the gate of the castle. You see two wizards, right? One has bright red robes, flaring red hair, a red goatee. He's got red bracelets and red jewelry all over his face as he's like laughing, right? Pointing at this burning bonfire in front of the castle door. As you see him point, a goust of flame leaps out of his fingers, hitting it, causing the blaze to grow even higher. The other wizard, appears to be have dark green cloaks on, and is an elvish fellow, tall, with all his hair shaved on one side, flopped over on the other. He's sneering with an evil grin as he thrusts his hand towards the wall like this. Amazingly, he seems to be conjuring some sort of magical force as green energy wells up and slams itself into the wall as hard as it can, knocking it open a couple of inches and it slams shut. You take in all this scene in front of you in a moment. Your action.
I'll shoot the red guy. The red wizard.
You're on. Oh, you went this way? So it's going to be a little further away because he's on the opposite side.
Well, no, I'll take the easier shot then. That's the other one.
That is this green mage throwing what appears to be pure green magical energy at the wall to break it open.
Am I shooting from over the wall or from one of those little slits in it?
You're standing on top of the wall next to that opening in the parapet where there are archers in there, like shooting. They're on a non-stop clip of firing arrows at monsters outside. You have the unique viewpoint to where you're looking down and out, down the castle wall, where you can see them down there casting magic spells at the door. Okay. Yeah, so if you want to line up an arrow shot and take it at him,
absolutely.
Go ahead.
Go, dude.
You got this.
With
yeah, with a 2, you line up the arrow shot the best you can. So you fire it.
Bless you.
It goes way high, over his head, a good 6 feet, landing. I mean, we're gonna say it hits a building behind him. It just the arrow just breaks into 100 pieces and is destroyed.
Okay.
Back around to your turn. You watch them break off and diverge as they run up the steps at the end of the courtyard on each side. So as the door again bangs, flames flickering in from the crack in the doorway, the soldiers and the knights, as they run back up to close it, you see their hands are blistered, burnt, red, scorched. On some of them even, the skin is all burned away, leaving nothing but charred flesh underneath. And yet they throw themselves again at the door, putting all their strength and will behind to keep it closed. Your action.
I'm gonna run up to where he is and join him up there.
All right. So you guys are out of view for a moment. We'll feeling like they've got this held for a moment. You turn to your left. You sprint. Down the courtyard, along the wall, up the steps, until you see Irvin up there, kind of looking around. I shouldn't say looking, sweeping his head back and forth, his ears perked, as if he's trying to sense any information that he can from what's out there in front of him. As soon as you hit the top and look out again, it's a remarkably ghastly sight. Flames spreading everywhere. People and soldiers alike lying dead in the streets, with these ravenous Basker hounds just toppling people, grizzling them in the street, eating them, throwing their bodies aside, jumping out of windows, chasing people around, with what soldiers are in the center of the street, trying to fight them as best they can. Yeah, and in the center here, as you look down, you see this green mage and this red mage, as they're both throwing spells at the wall, trying to either increase the bonfire to burn it down, or to strike it with green spires of magic to push the door open.
How stretchy are my limbs?
How stretchy? As of right now, because you're level 1, they can only stretch out maybe a foot or 2 away from you.
Okay.
Are there any like javelins or any like little spears up there in a bucket you can throw down or something?
Yeah, is there something I could throw?
Maybe a rock.
Start
Big
tossing?
rocks on the side or like.
The castle is in a state of like being built, so a lot of that stuff hasn't been added yet.
Any extra building materials?
Yeah, is there any construction tools?
Yeah, I mean, because the parapet is like 3/4 of the way built, some of the top blocks on top aren't there. So as you stand up and look down and look over this way at your feet, there are some of those blocks that are about this big, right?
Yeah, I'd like to chuck a rock at his head.
Because of your strength, again, being a 2,
It won't be the most accurate.
it'll be a 1d4. It'll be a 1d4 on that.
You got this.
We're trying to throw the door. He is tossing a brick. He hits a 3. Hoisting it up over his head. He hurls it over his head as hard as he can. It covers a majority of the distance. You were on this side, and you two were on this side. So as it lands a couple of feet behind him, breaking and scattering at his feet, it caused him to stop for a moment and turn and look. He's going to do a perception check. With a 2, he looks out behind him to see where the debris came from. Instinctively, he kind of looks up to the top of the wall, and he sees you standing up there, right? Realizing that you're not normal soldiers, he's going to point a finger up at you like this. And as soon as he does, a little ball of fire, it's only this big, right? Poof! Flying out towards the both of you with a 2. Roll to evade.
Can I try and take my smooth mace and just hit it?
Because it is a fireball, it may deflect unexpectedly.
Oh, I'm not doing that. Just gonna
Both of you must roll to evade. Rapunzel. Well, that is a 6 and a 4, enough for both of you to evade. Because you rolled a 6, you get to roll it again.
Again.
A 1. But that is a 6. So as he fireball, and it's this big, just you're able to just part. You go one way, you lean the other. As it right in between you guys, just flying up in the air past you. Turning to look back at him, you can see from this distance his brow furrows as he realized that he missed. So now you see him roll his sleeves up, right? So now this green mage is gonna cast his spell to knock the door open. Now that we're all here, I could roll for that myself. Green mage again wells up the magic inside of him as he thrusts his hands towards the door. Green magic seems to rise up out of the ground like a wave, slamming itself into the door with all of its strength. And that's a 5. So this time as it slams into the door, it hits so hard as the door breaks open that a bit of it splinters, cracks, and breaks away from the door, causing a chunk to fall off. So as all these 5 soldiers and knights knock away from the door, run back up to take it back, there's a huge chunk and a hole missing in the center now. So with continued impacts, it's now not only hitting the door, but breaking away chunks and pieces of it. It is made of just solid wood. And because the bottom part of it is dark and black from being burned, and that burn is slowly working its way up the door, it's becoming more and more brittle. And so as he's hitting it with the magic force, you now see cracks go up the wood. It's Johnsy is following. What an absolute legend, Johnsy.
Hey.
Welcome back.
Welcome back, Johnsy. Welcome back. We love you.
Somebody suggested throw a brick into the...
That was when he was doing it. They were all about him trying to brain him with a rock.
Nice. It was a good idea.
But you know, as that green energy slammed into it, it knocked a big chunk of the inside of one of the doors away, letting some of the flames start to lap in. This soldier who's right in front of it seems to pay it no mind as he covers it with both of his hands, putting his whole body over the spot where the hole is. He must be burning. He must be burning. Like, that's the only thing that you can think if you were to turn over and watch them all holding the door. One of these knights is going to make a call for his brethren to come and help. Long live Francois. We're in the age of Dalton now. You have no hope, bro. You missed it. You missed it. It was so good. A 4 and a 1. One of the knights, yelling over his shoulder, says, "We need more men. The door will give way." So at that behest, everyone else had been busy. The courtyard is virtually clear. But we're going to say one more knight is going to come up. Hearing your call, we'll say that he was up there with you at the parapet. And hearing that call, he's going to stop what he's doing and go bounding down the steps. So he's going to run to eventually follow up with his compatriots. So now as this red mage rolls up his arms like this, green mage took his turn, knights took their turn. I'll give you guys another action.
Can I just shoot it with another arrow?
Of course.
Alright, come on.
Thanks for
You
playing.
can hit the green guy, you know, like, The door's burning. They can't walk through it either. So we can at least get this green guy.
You just rolled that. You rolled that all the way over to the window.
So I was thinking, since you're up there with me, I have
6.
Let's go! Oh, buddy.
Roll it again. Nice 6. Nice 6.
We'll give it a second to respond.
Look at Johnson. A second 6. A second 6.
Dude.
That is 2 6s.
Get up
Will
that
he hit
skill
the
as a
third?
rogue. Do it, dude. You got it, rogue.
3. But on 2 6s,
Still got a good hit on that guy.
this
Hell
mage
yeah.
is going to try to get a reaction, though you will likely overtake him. He hits a 1. He hits a 1. So as you line up your shot better this time, right? You see him again rolling up his sleeves and begin to channel the first bit of a flaming spell, right? Causing him towards you. Because you were on this far side, he looks like he's going to cast a spell at Drummond and Irving up on the other side, lining up the sight. So you're like, oh, I can't let that happen. Lining up the shot, and it makes a slow, lazy arc, hitting him directly in the back of the knee, right?
To the knee. He took an arrow to the knee.
Took an arrow to the knee, folks. Arrow hits him in the knee. He instantly lets out a yelp. Both his hands going straight up in the air in surprise. As his body rocks back, he lets loose the spell he was going to cast, and a bigger gust of flame, almost like in a cone, with a dragon's head at the top, bursts out straight up in the air in a cone that must be 20, 30, 40 feet high. As soon as he casts it, it instantly goes up into the air and dissipates into the sky. But it was some kind of a draconic blast or cone of flame he was going to cast at you. He takes a knee, right, with his leg dangling out in front of him, looking at the arrow coming out, blood welling down his red trousers, right? He puts both hands on the arrow, and as you're able to watch and see, his hands light up with a bit of magic as he's trying to burn the arrow off and cauterize his wounds. But he's stunned and down for the turn.
So I'm just bouncing ideas off of the group.
You like this dice tower, John C? It was made with a 3D printer. 3D printer, totally made.
I
Amazing.
think I might just jump down, use my wings to kind of flutter so I don't take big damage, and just slam him while he's trying to cauterize himself. But then I'll be outside of the wall, and then
You will. If you choose to jump
stuck.
down, you'll
It's
be.
a big risk.
That's
Yeah.
a big risk.
Well, I mean, you're not too attached to your character yet, so I mean, like, you really
Come on,
have
Meg.
to.
Take good luck on that Modern Warfare. Get those dubs.
I think I'm gonna try.
Those dubs. So what will it be then?
I can't really do anything right now, so I think that I'm just.
You can
going
grab
to-
a brick and throw it.
I can grab a brick.
Let's grab bricks.
We're
Throw
gonna just
rocks
throw
down,
2
man.
bricks, dude.
We got
Yeah,
some-
we're each gonna try to tag the guy dealing with his knee there.
Just throw
Yeah.
rocks.
Yeah.
We have a request from the chat. Somebody said, someone swing on sprinkles in game. Swing on
Who
sprinkles.
said that, Johnsty?
Yes, it was John.
Of course it was. Johnsty was never a team player.
He
Is
said,
it the clear play?
Tuna Macchiato, John C. He said that you don't love him.
You don't love me. You don't love me.
Look, he's saying it's lies. He's saying it's lies. All right, so your strength is 3. Are you
yes.
the brick thrower?
Yes.
Because of how far away you are, you'll have to really aim it at. Oh, this was the one that was closer to you.
Yeah.
So yeah, you want to aim it at him then, or at him?
He was the one that took the arrow to
The red mage that took the arrow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Some truck
So as you're on the parapet looking down outside, he took the shot to the knee from across the way. He drops down to one knee and he's reaching down to aid himself, holding the rock, and it's more less like a rock and more like a brick, high over your head. You cast it with a 5.
Dude, let's go.
Let's see if he's gonna get any skill. Actually, because he's injured and not reacting, we're gonna give him a different dice on this one.
D4?
A D4.
Oh.
Gonna give him a D4 on. Wow, get in there. 01.
Oh, man.
So as this green mage was channeling up the necessary magic to cast the spell again, That brick hit him directly in the middle of his back. Boof! Causing him to spring forward 2 steps from the sheer impact of it. But being a brick, it only knocks him down to his knees for a moment. The brick breaks from the force of it into 2, on both sides of him, crumbling away. He just stands up and looks back off in this direction. And I guess what a deuce. You know, he looks and he sees people running and a soldier squaring off against a Basker demon, you know, sling sword, trying to swipe at it. But he didn't see where it came from. It's like, he looked straight up. Did it fall from the wall? There's no one up there. Again, being able to hit him without being able to physically see is quite an achievement in itself.
Did he see that?
No. But as you're watching, he's now looking around to see you guys. So grab him by his shoulder and force both of you to duck down. Roll d6. So with a 3, you grab his shoulder like this, and as you duck down, you're like, why is he dragging me? As you pull, he did manage to see a bit of your feather wing and your shoulder as you were going to drop down. Grumbling, he takes 2 steps off in this direction, and as he's channeling up his magic again, you know, the whole ground around him begins to start to rumble a little bit and shake, right? Causing everything to tremble. As he lifts his hands up like this, that green energy just sprouts up out of the ground in almost like column-esque shape in front of him, right? As he reaches out to it, it looks, it's tall, 6 feet tall, a column of green energy this big around. He just seems to reach out and pick it up as if it had the weight of a kitten, right? Luring it back like this, as soon as he lets go of it, the whole column itself goes streaking towards you with the strength and speed of a cannonbolt. Because you're ducked down, it's going to hit the wall right where you guys are ducking behind, blasting it away in a huge chunk. You both take 1d4 damage.
Now you got more rocks to throw.
You both take 2. You both take 2 damage as you're right behind that wall. But the magic hits it so hard, the debris blasts over your bodies, spraying you with rock and sharp bits of dirt and debris. So you both take 2 damage.
He didn't throw it at the door though. So
True.
we're distracting him.
Exactly.
Right, that's true. You are distracting them, and so I'm going to go ahead and do some rolls for the hounds. They roll pretty good, a 5, 4, 3. Let's go ahead and roll for the soldiers that are fighting it.
They're not.
The soldiers are getting destroyed, I'm sorry.
Oh god.
It's a 3, a 3, and a 1.
Only one of them's doing okay.
So as the Basker hounds are, you know, jumping on top of a soldier, he lets out a scream. It clenches his teeth over his neck, killing him almost instantly. A lot of them that don't have people to fight, because now the streets are either, the buildings are on fire, there's burning debris in the streets, there are dead bodies skittering around. A lot of the soldiers are fighting Basker hounds deeper in the city or further down towards the southern edge where the entrance is. So now what remaining Basker hounds are unengaged are now running up the center of the city towards the doorway. There's got to be at least 2 or 3 of them bounding. Oops. With the mages distracted, you guys took your turns. Comes to you. Any spells, any abilities that may be of a benefit? Johnson's saying we need an emoji with Levi's face on it.
What's your fire spell?
Yeah, I don't know what does the fire spin do?
So that is a flaming attack. You make a motion like this, and a spinning disc of fire erupts from your hands, spinning like this towards its target.
Oh, you throwing rocks?
I didn't know that's what that was.
Nice.
I thought it'd be like, I don't know. I was thinking maybe you would like spin in the spot, making a fire tornado or something. But
Yeah.
Can I use my fire spin and chuck it at the green guy?
Sure can.
I would like to do that.
Subtract your MP and roll your 1d6.
AP. Or does he use?
Oh yeah, MP. Oh, AP. This is AP.
It is AP.
It's action points in this game, folks.
So you did write MP on the back.
Well, that was a clerical error. I
Old
apologize.
habits.
That's what's called a mixed message.
Yeah, no mixed signals. No mixed signals.
You're what?
My D6.
It's over here. Let me have it.
Thank you.
I'll start with that.
That's a 6.
Oh, dude, roll it.
again.
It's a 16.
See what someone else.
So he had already cast his action this turn. so he won't be able to do an action, but he will try to get out of the way. A 3, he's going to be able to, but just barely. As you hold your hand out like this, fire just starts to, in a wide spinning bit of a disc motion with your hand like this, right? So you're able to kind of hold it back, and you kind of just toss it at him, and as you let go of it, the flame maintains its shape, but it spins like this as it's flying through the air. Seeing it coming at him like shh, he attempted to dive out of the way at the last second. He didn't make it as the flame spin hits him in the arm hard like this, cutting a little bit but burning mostly as it splays into his shoulder, flying off. The force of it makes him spin to the side, and he lands to the ground prone for the rest of the turn.
Yeah.
So yeah, it burned, singed, and cut into his body from his arm and shoulder from the force of the attack. So he's down and prone. So that's everyone's turn. He's going to turn and see his buddy down. Looking back up at, oh shoot, that was you. That was you two up there. Looking back at you two again as you literally cast the fire over his head to hit the guy behind him. He's going to mutter and say, "Oh, is it fire you want?" As he does this with his hands like this, circles begin to appear made out of fire in front of him. And as he traces them again, the circles slowly expand and expand and expand and get bigger and bigger. So he's got 2 circles of flame, right in front of his hands like this, right? He combines them together, and the 2 discs meld and merge together in the flaming circle to make a ball of flame. Literally the size of a basket, right? And it's just crackling, smoke wafting from it. He's able to back like this as almost as if it's like a big ball, right? But as soon as he lets go of it, it just right towards the spot where you peeked over to cast your spell to where you're still peeked over. He is going to a 3 because you're crouching behind. So we'll give him I'll give you an advantage. So I'll let you roll the 2D. I'll let you roll the 2D6 and keep the highest one. And because you're still kind of ducked behind, he peeked his head up to cast the fire spin, and is now this fireball streaking towards him. He's going to duck back down as quick as he can. Roll 2D6. That's a 1.
Go for the other.
And a 2. You get down, but as the fireball washes over the top wall of the parapet, the heat is still so intense, even if you don't get hit by it, the heat washes over you. You can feel some of the outer edges of your cloak and clothing start to singe and burn away. As even your hair, well, I shouldn't say your hair, but even as your antlers and your skin feel the heat instantly. If the fireball was so close, you take 1d4 incendiary damage. 1 damage, let's go.
I take that too, right? Because I'm silent.
He did. No, you were crouched down low. You didn't take it. But as he cast the fireball, again, he's looking down to where this half arrow is sticking out of his leg. He broke the back half off. He was attempting to cast a spell on it to cauterize the wound, to pull the arrow out. Unable to do so, he's now going to stand up on 1 foot, hopping backwards weakly, pointing at this wall. You're able to hear him say, "Enough is enough. This wall is coming down now." He's going to try to take his turn as he goes to get up to his feet. Hit him.
Roll.
That is a 3. That's enough for him to get up.
Yeah.
So he gets up, wipes some of the dirt away from his face, looks back in, I guess you guys were in this direction. So you're in this direction. You were in this direction up here. Looking back up at you again.
I don't think he'd see me up.
No, he hadn't. But looking around in all these directions, he's befuddled as to where these attacks are coming from. But as soon as he hears his red mage friend say that he's bringing the wall down, momentarily he's going to shuffle closer, and as he's bringing up a fire spell, and this time as the spell he's casting caused him to move his arms like this, and as he does, flames are wrapping around his wrists and his hands, combining together like this. The spot inside is becoming a tiny ball of fire, and as he's spinning, slowly growing bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. As you're watching transfixed, this ball seems to be dripping fire from it. And as soon as it drips off, it goes. So whatever is inside of this ball of fire must be something solid and molten.
Can I attempt to shoot him before he casts it?
Yes.
Alright.
Let it rip.
Alright. I mean, my feline form wouldn't help me here, would it?
Not unless you're doing no.
Okay, I think so. Alright. Here we go. Come on. Not 3, but...
Well, 3 won't be enough, but as he's channeling this huge magical spell, and it's that melting ball of what seems to be napalm or lava is growing and growing inside of his swirling hands like this. The first arrow that goes out, fletches by his head, hitting the back of his cloak, streaking by him, dealing no damage. Feeling it, right? He steps closer, holding one hand out, getting ready to blow the wall in. As this green mage, disheveled, dirty, is going to, as he's raising his hand up like this, the ground is starting to rumble around him. And as he goes to close his fist like this, a little ball of green energy is forming in his hands. But as he's closing his hand like this, he seems to have difficulty doing so. But as he draws his fingers ever closer, green energy swirls in from all directions, making the ball of energy get bigger and bigger and bigger. Until now it's a green nimbus of light, this big, swirling, right? And he's preparing to just cast it out in front of him like this. Take your shot. I'll get you guys to take one more action to interrupt each of them.
I was Use your fire.
I'm gonna chuck another rock.
Throwing rocks. Are you gonna do another move?
What is my darkness skill?
So that attempts you to cast a point out in front of you, and causes all the light to momentarily either dim or leave that section. It'll be a momentary spot of darkness just there.
That would be perfect for me.
All vision inside of it is either reduced or nullified based on a check. In low light or dungeons, it creates even more darkness. But in a situation like this, if you were to cast it out and roll high enough, it would cast a momentary blink of darkness on that spot.
You kind of blind him a little bit, or?
It'd be a momentary distraction.
Okay.
John C. recommends we cast Magic Missile.
Oh.
He says, am I in the room? Can I cast Magic Missile?
No, you're in the tavern.
Well, John C., maybe someday you could be in this room.
Well, he could be.
Not a big fan of Brian.
But he doesn't love us.
Rock's not a fan of the bright light. He prefers to live in the darkness. A creature of the
Me too.
night.
Says the blind, yeah.
So if you're going to cast a rock, you're going to cast darkness?
I'd rather do the fire spin again.
Yeah, there you go.
So if you guys roll at the same time and you match, you'll pick up a flaming debris.
That'd be cool.
I'm rolling now.
His roll is a 2.
I rolled bad, but magic.
Maybe you can roll it.
I'll try to match it.
What is that, like a... You could roll 2d6s?
Let's roll 1d6.
Yes, Rocks, let me know when the Nightmare Bus is on tour, man. Let me know.
What is that?
4.
He drives around he repurposed the whole bus to live in.
Oh, wow.
Got all his bed in it. He has solar panels and like all the electronics in it to
I see
play.
people do that
Oh,
online,
that's
yeah.
cool.
Yeah, it's a whole big, beautiful setup. The pictures are on his website. If you guys aren't friendly with Revenhart on Facebook, go find him as well. You can see him, doing the bus life. He makes more content. He's made more content on the internet than I will probably ever make. You guys need to go check it out for real.
And for clarification, who'd you throw the rock at?
This guy. The
Alright.
guy that took the
Fire
energy.
mage, fire mage.
He's the one that I've been attacking the whole time.
With my fire spin, I want to clarify I was targeting him, so I don't trust the fire guy receiving a fire attack.
I feel that.
Or I just throw it at the green guy.
Well, with a 2, as soon as he was about to let that spell go, right? You threw the rock. And actually all this is going to happen at the same time. So as you go to cast your rock, you again let up another fire, a disc of flame that you whip out like this. And it fly through the air with a 4. As the fire mage was about to loose his spell, the rock hit him high on his chest and shoulder, not really damaging him so much, but knocking his hand away to where as he was aiming directly at the door, it now lifts up and he hits it high at the wall. Well, you guys are on the sides. This is more in the center,
okay.
above the door.
Good.
And as soon as he lets go of that, and the green mage was about to cast his ball of green magic, your fire spin, comes down in a 4. Yeah, he was not even paying attention. So we'll say that it hits him right in the side so hard that it sinks into him for a moment, burning all up and down his robes, sinking in, singeing his skin. He lets out a yell, a sharp cry, right? As he goes to turn and see where the attack came from. He lets his ball of magic go out straight off down the wall. There's a building down there, so as both of their attacks go off at the same time, he lets his energy ball out. It covers that 40, 50 feet, like that. As soon as it hit that wall of that building, the whole wall blows apart in a huge raining display of debris and rock and dirt, silt and rubble. Boom! At the same time, the napalm ball that he cast leaps out of his hands, comes straight up and strikes the wall 4 feet above the top of the door. It was such a huge spell, and it caused such a terrific impact that it, with a loud, deafening whoosh, blows the wall out, causing a huge hole. Rocks go flying every direction inside the courtyard. Flames start dancing all along the walls, all up and down it. The bottom section of the door at the top, where it's like a 1 foot chunk of it at the top, is blasted away, and now napalm is dripping down the door too, causing rivulets of fire to streak up as they're landing. He's gonna be a stumble away. The green mage was pretty badly injured by the fire spin, so he's gonna be at least 1 turn before he can even muster another attack. Red mage didn't take a lot of damage from your brick, but the attack missed, blasting a hole in the castle perimeter wall 2 feet above the door. And 3 or 4 of the big bricks got knocked out in all directions. So as all these soldiers go out a cry, as above them, the wall literally breaks away in a flaming display. They're all going to get reaction rolls to get out of the way of that crap. I feel like some of these guys aren't going to make it.
No, I'm going to roll 6. What do you mean? Ooh, no.
Bruh.
One of them did.
Look at these awful soldiers. Well, we have one guy that got away. One guy that got away took some injuries, and 3 of them that are going to take some debris, some fire damage. So as that wall explodes outward above the door, raining down not only flaming debris, but silt and dirt and dust and pieces of huge heavy rock, these 6 soldiers all go to scatter, right? So he was further back. So then 1 knight and 1 soldier make it away in time, but 3 of them, as they're trying to get away, are slammed with huge heavy bits of brick, burning debris and embering bits of rock. Crushed, burned, and singed, all 3 of them die under the burning debris almost instantly. Now there's a pile of bodies and rubble standing in front of the door on the other side.
At least they didn't get eaten.
And you guys wouldn't notice this at first now, but now the sole body of the prefect is walking by herself, pushing open the castle door with her staff, hobbling out all by herself. No one around her. She's just hobbling down, walking towards the door by herself.
Who all sees that?
You guys don't see it. You're the only one that can sense it, because the way your senses work, you heard the door open, right? And you hear that same shake, shake, shake. She's got like one of those gnarled oaken staffs with like rings and some fine jewelry things on the top of it. So whenever she walks with it, it lets out a so as soon as she opened the door and let one step out, you heard that same rhythmic of her staff. So you can sense that she's in the courtyard now.
Could I sense if there was anyone with her?
No.
There's no one with her?
No.
Could I try and accompany her? Like from the top, just glide
Jumping
down?
from the parapet, you can use your 1d6 glide, your safe fall. Go ahead. Well, with a deuce, you will hop off, and as you flutter down to land, you will try to catch her as she's walking up.
Yep.
That'll be your part of the turn. Right, Fire Mage blew this out. And so that was enough damage to the top of the wall and to the door itself. The soldiers all backed away from it, some of them taking impact damage and dying, bludgeoning instantly. The other ones backed away enough to where the doors now are just there. And so as this Fire Mage, again, takes a knee, the blood welling from his leg wound, his knee, causing a pool of blood to start to gather on the ground below him, he's going to charge up, he's... As soon as he puts his hand up like this, his sleeve comes down, revealing, as you're looking and seeing, a red bracelet on his wrist, right? It lights up, dancing and swirling with red sparks of energy, right? So he hits a knee, and it's like shh, as now his whole arm is wreathed and wrapped in flame, right? And as the bracelet inside is pulsing a brighter and brighter red, the flames go further out and further out, until 10 inches around his arm, there's just a huge coning cylinder of flame as he's holding his hand up. Barely able to stand, consciousness about to fade, he gets back up to his second feet, standing on the injury, though it must hurt him greatly. As he brings his other hand around and he touches it to the first one, instantly both hands now are erupting in flame, 10 inches around, just making this huge burning, singeing sound, right? So now with both hands towards the door like this, he puts his hands out like this as if he's going to unleash some terrible flaming spell at the doors before him. Now, these soldiers are all backed away and dying. The priestess walking up by herself to the doorway, waves her shaman staff like this. The door, as if on well-oiled hinges, swings open easily. Right? The red mage, not realizing that was going to happen, looses his spell. A huge twirling, we'll call it like it's like two spirals that are spiraling on each other, spiraling in a straight direction. I'll do it straight like this, but there's two of them, right? Well, he's going to roll for that action. He rolled a 1 on a d8, guys.
Oh,
this guy sucks.
Love to see it.
Yeah.
And so, as soon as it's barreling towards her with streaks of jets of flame, she just waves her staff right at it. With a 3. As soon as it were to hit the spot in front of her, and instantly doing a 90-degree turn, goes straight up. It goes into the sky. It disappears. It was so high. Right? Now, pointing her staff at him, she is going to cast a spell. A 2. She didn't be very good either. For a moment, his feet levitate off the ground. Right? As he goes to kick him for a little bit, realizes not touching anything. Looking around, he finally locks eyes with her from the inside of the wall, holding her staff out, challenging him, right? Already injured and almost out of magic at this point, he decides in a last-ditch effort, seeing that she's the prefect, that he's going to reach over, take that bracelet off as he wiggles it off his hand, still floating there. Oh, look at Johnsy tells us, yeah, man, if we get a lot of followers and a lot of people that want to watch, I'll do D&D streams. I want to do a stream where I can get people to webcam in, so it'd be like like where everyone, you see them in the little windows around. It wouldn't be anybody here. It would just be a D&D stream with just people that want to play remotely, like with Roll D20 or whatever, right? So we'll get those things going too as soon as we get enough people that want to play, so I can play, different times during the week, right? If you guys want to see some D&D, we can play some D&D.
Can I get an attack of opportunity while she's levitating him?
He is going to, as he pulls that bracelet off, and he rears it back as if to throw it. Go ahead.
You already know what I'm going to do.
Fire an arrow.
Try to hit him with the arrow.
Yeah, Rox, I'm actually going to ask, Deuce.
No.
I was actually going to ask Justin about that too. I know that he probably would get into a game with us too. So if we can pick a day of the week where you can kind of jump on a webcam and play with us, I'll get him to play too. And a couple of other people, bro, play hacky sack a day. We used to play hacky sack at the mall, bro. So much. My brother too, by the way. Where's old Zelfrey? He said he was going to be here tonight. Okay. So you roll a 2 on that. And so as he was going to cast the bracelet, let's see what it is. It's cast as a 4. The arrow that you launch, again, goes low and off to the side, skittering along the ground, missing him completely. This guy died. Green Mage died from his wounds. That fire spin was pretty impressive. So as he goes to hurl the bracelet and let go of it, with just a flick of her staff, the prefect will... Deuce. Jeez, everyone's rolling garbage. With a flick of her staff, his body literally goes... It was already floating. His body goes... Boom! Right? Up, slamming him into the ground, right? And as she flickers it one more time again, do it like this, she flickers it again, his body goes, boom, one more time. And she's sort of controlling his body through some kind of invisible magical force. She does it one more time and boom, like this again. Now as he drops the bracelet on that third time, knocking the wind out of him and knocking him unconscious, he drops the bracelet. It then, unrolling from his grasp, rolls along in a lazy roll until it's almost over here. We'll say over this way because you can see it. Over this way to where the edge of the doorway is, to where the castle wall is. You wouldn't realize this were to happen because of how small and innocent looking that bracelet is. But as soon as it touches the side of this wall, it erupts in a massive explosion. Boom! Causing a jet of flame to jump up 30 feet high, blasting it in all directions, blowing out this door and an entire chunk of the castle wall with it, sending debris scattering in every direction. The prefect is going to put her wand up in front of her in a defensive move. 3. Now, who else? Oh, there's nobody else here. There's no players.
Well, I mean, I was flying down.
Oh, and as you were flying down, I'll have you land right here to assist. As you turn, the bracelet hit. Huge explosion, rocked everything. Almost causing you, as an invisible hand grabs you and attempts to push you back. It's just the wind force. Your winds flow out, and you're able to, balance yourself in the air. For a moment, there's just all of these huge pieces of rock and debris flying from the wall in every direction, huge chunks. So one is going to hit you, and so you're going to have to roll to evade it. I'm rolling so good tonight. It's a 1.
Whoa. Come on now, dude. There we go. I'll take that as a 5. Oops.
Perfect. It's more than enough. As you jump back out of the way, your wings again furling up to brush you back enough as the rock flies by you. As the prefect waves her wand, all the debris that was about to hit her freezes in motion right in front of her, just like, right? And then as she lowers her wand, they all just drop.
Cool.
So that was, he's unconscious or dying from that attack. Let's do another roll for Basker Hounds.
Jesus.
They're doing pretty bad.
So what is it? 2 1s?
One of them got 5. And we're gonna roll for remaining soldiers. Soldiers are fighting back.
Hey.
As the soldiers started to get vantage, working with each other, they were able to beat back the wave of Basker Hounds. And so as the fire's burning up over here over the wall of the castle, fires are burnt all throughout the city. The remaining Basker Hounds that are challenging warriors and soldiers are getting speared, pinned down and stabbed, or a bunch of people are jumping on them, hitting, stabbing with knives and short weapons, until that final moment of deafening calm starts to sweep out across the city, to where you can only hear the flickering flames, and that's it. The occasional moaning of someone dying, gasping of pain, cries for help, people helping people trapped under debris, pulling apart big, huge chunks of rock to get someone trapped within. It's a scene of chaos played out over the whole city as this attack left everyone reeling. The prefect, looking over at what soldiers are remaining, issues an order. She says, get what stonemasons and woodworkers you can find. Repair the door. Looking over at you, she says, get your friends and come with me.
Okay. Hey guys, you gotta jump down. You can't take the stairs. Jump down, I'll catch you.
Is there really no stairs?
There's of course stairs.
Yeah, there's of course stairs.
Please jump 20 feet if you want.
No, I'm gonna take it.
Alright, fine.
I took no damage, so.
No damage. You taking no damage. Oh, no damage.
Risk taker. I jumped.
Is the stream frozen? Can you guys see it okay? Is the stream frozen for everybody? Jotzi said it froze up for him.
Oh no.
Well, this puts us in a good part as the three of you form up with the prefect, and you make your way back towards the castle. The soldiers and knights that are around that aren't too injured or too dying, that are helping with the debris or the cleanup or saving people are all running around trying to find a stonemason, woodworkers, so where they can rebuild the door and repair it and rebuild this section of the wall as quickly as possible. Now that we have that set, I can switch it back to... So as the four of you go into the castle, the door opens up, and it's a long hallway with many doors on each side. Walking ahead of you three. All right. That's how we're doing. I'm a savage. Too many hands out of room. How much of that can you see? Well, not a whole lot, really. Thank you.
Just use this as the wall and take these out.
Yeah, that's the wall. You guys are walking down a narrow hallway until you get to another set of big doors at the end. Pushing those open, she takes you into what looks like a royal throne room. It's a long room with high chandeliers spilling light over every inch of the long corridor. You see expensive paintings and tapestries light over the walls, nice columns with vases and statuettes, and nice ornaments laid out here and there. There's a long table in the middle, and there are servants working around it, picking things up off the table, sweeping the floors, bustling about with scrolls or parchments. The throne room seems to be busy. As you guys walk around the wide table, you see there are many dishes and fine china, silverware, all laid amongst it, as if they were preparing for a big party or a big dinner. It was hard to tell. The throne is empty up there. There was actually two thrones. They're both empty. The prefect walks up the dais steps, turns facing you three, in front of the thrones, looking down at you. She says, almost sternly, "I find it too coincidental that you should show up and our city is instantly beset upon by foes. Who are you? Why are you here?"
I came looking for apothecaries and places that needed work. That's what I do everywhere I go.
I want money.
He wants money. I like money. That's why I do work.
I don't like the work part as much.
That's where
Well, you are honest. And what's your motivations?
I need answers.
Interesting. So as she, again, with her crone-like gaze, sweeps over you three, she says, "I sent for the king to return, and he will surely have some news about what's been happening in the lands abroad. If that has something to do with this, we will surely find out. Because of what's happening, the city's in disarray. There are many dead. The city is burning. I must attend to repairs, to calming people, to helping to fix things. I would ask that you stay in the castle until the king arrives. I will board you up. I will feed you. I'm expecting someone to be here by the morning. And so I humbly ask that you stay in the castle and not leave until..."
Is there anything that I can do while I'm in the castle to help with anything?
Probably heal the wounded soldier.
I can't heal.
Oh, yeah.
I can punch people.
Not a cleric.
Yeah.
Not a cleric this time. Can't heal.
I can punch.
So do you take her offer?
Are we prisoners or guests?
Yeah, you are guests that can't leave until the king arrives to sort the whole thing out. He should be here in the morning.
Do we have can we walk the grounds ourselves?
Yes.
Okay.
So we don't have like a escort?
I mean, the guards will always be watching you. See that?
Okay.
But there will be maybe occasionally places where you maybe won't be seen.
Ooh.
Bathrooms.
Oh, Summer's been having issues too watching. I'm sorry about that, Summer. Has your internet been not good? I hope you've been able to pick up on what we've been doing, talking about and rolling on. And, my voice is hanging in there, so I'm glad you're able to jump in and see though. So will you guys take her up on the offer?
I guess we have to.
I mean, hey, yeah.
So she'll say, waves her staff like this, and instantly one of the people that was helping to work, and there are guards and knights all along the outside perimeter of the long throne room, staying there. When she waves her hand, a young squire runs up to the three of you. He's a young dwarven kid, maybe in his late 20s. Muscular kid with just a tank top shirt on, with a bit of that chain linking armor over it. He looks like he has a bit of a practice axe over his back. She says, young Kavil, will you please show them to their rooms for the night? He says, aye, prefect, it will be so. So as you turn and go to leave, she turns over here to an advisor and starts talking about plans for the city, and it's getting it mended as he's scribbling down things on a parchment. So the three of you leave. You're taken into a side door along a long corridor past what looks like a huge sprawling kitchen belting out steam. Going up a stairway, up another stairway, down a long corridor of similar thin doors. Coming to one at the end, he pushes it open. It's a simple guest suite allowing up to 4 people to sleep. It's got 2 double cots, a couple of dressers, and a nice window overlooking the carnage and the smoke from the city below.
Any wine? Any fine wine left for the guests?
No, but as the three of you go into the room, and the door is shut behind you, and you guys start to kind of sit on the cots, look out the window over all the spectacle before you, and they're dragging Basker Hound bodies away out of the street. They're dragging bodies away and so pulling rubble away to pull people out. You see some of the soldiers have buckets, and they're running over where fires are, throwing them. It's just a whole scene of general chaos out over the city as you're watching from the room. But not that you see it, so to speak, but as they're describing it, you're just like, it all happened so quickly. You were just in the city, everything was fine, and now it's been beset upon, and it was half burnt, and now all these people have been killed. It's sorrowful. But as you guys all take your seats, it will sort of change and pivot to the next day, or I'll give you guys an opportunity to do something at night or explore the castle.
You already know what I'm going to do. I want to go find their finest ale.
Rockstar has one question. Where's the booze, bros? Well, and that's a good question you asked that. He did ask already. Within a couple of minutes of them sitting there, checking their gear, examining their wounds, getting dirt off and things like that, another servant knocks on the door, opens it up, and he has a big tray of refreshments. Spritzing water, some alcoholic mead-like beverage, hunks of cheese and fruit with some dried meat. Big platter of it. Take it down to the dresser. All 3 of you can eat at will.
I'll dig in.
Nice.
Pour myself a couple glasses.
Nice. So as they're eating at will, that is actually where we're going to leave it today. I've been streaming for almost 3 hours. My voice has been pretty good. I'm not going to risk it because I start a new job tomorrow. I'm going to need my voice for that. But thank you guys for jumping in to watch. I hope the audio was good. I hope everything was really great. Oh man. And so thank you guys for jumping into the very first stream. If you were expecting D&D, it is a custom system that I made when I was but a young lad. That has been really fun in using these D&D-esque TTRPG campaigns. Oh, thank you, Mama. I appreciate that. Thank you for watching. I'm glad you watched. I hope it was fun. Hopefully exciting in spots. When we come back, they're going to have an opportunity to explore the castle overnight. Hopefully not get caught, and then the king or someone of royal lineage will arrive in the morning to shed some more light on the nature of this attack and its origin. So we have that set. And again, if anyone's interested, I'm going to put this video on YouTube because we're going to chronicle the whole campaign, front to end, for posterity. So we always have a record. And I really appreciate you guys. Again, if anyone wants to do a separate campaign, mobile, coming in from your webcam, we can definitely set that up. just let me know. You can always send me a message on Twitch. You can hit me up on Facebook, of course, or you can message me direct, and I will work out a day of the week that we can all get together and do a dedicated Dungeons and Dragons stream over mobile. So I definitely want to set that up too. So, what did you guys think about the first session? If you guys had to say one thing about everything that happened so far, what was your the best part?
I would say I liked the bits about the fire mage with the ring, because the strong enchantments, they're pretty exciting.
Oh yeah, and as you've played this game before or have some familiarity with it, you'll know that almost anything is possible. It really is the ultimate sandbox TTRPG. All you have to do is really say it and roll the dice, and we gotta let it at least try. We gotta at least try. So,
Absolutely.
if you're interested in playing a game like this, definitely let me know. We can always do one that way on stream. Or if you guys want to play traditional D&D, I just happen to have...
The battle.
Sergeant said the battle. The battle was good. The battle was so good. I have, through the generosity of my friends, I have paperback D&D dungeon guides and monster guides. So I can do any D&D adventure that you guys might want to do. Even with the OGL looming over our heads, I don't give a crap. We're gonna roll D&D, and they can't stop us. So again, reach out to me and message. What was your favorite part about the session tonight?
I like the intensity. Like off the bat, there was just a lot going on.
Yeah, exactly.
Like even like starting off fresh, I felt like I was already entrenched in something, So that was pretty cool.
Interesting. Yeah, the battle picked up pretty quick right away, which I like, because fighting is one of those opportunities where you can really get in there and roll some dice. That's what it's about, guys. Rolling these dice.
Yeah, I mean, it's like we've been in this city for what, like, I'd say 2 or 3 hours maybe, and now we're like sleeping in the castle, up top us.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. My favorite part was the way the story progressed, and at first I was just mugging people on the street trying to get some money, and then next thing you know, I'm like shooting 5 or 6 arrows down onto enemies from behind like a wall, like a guard. It's pretty fun.
Nice. I'm glad you all had fun. It's gonna be every Monday night. It should start around 7. Well, it was a little late tonight because we had to set up all the tech and get people here. But it should be every Monday night between 6 and 7 o'clock. I will drop it on Facebook. I know if you guys saw my Facebook post, you must have thought surely it was the end of times, because I don't ever make a Facebook post. But I appreciate those who saw it and clicked on it to jump in. And for those who followed during the stream, thank you guys so much. And be on the lookout for more content. Thank you, Rox, for clicking on that Facebook link. Hey, always share that too once you get it, and like it, so that your the people that are in your friend group can take a look, because I know that you have probably the coolest and the best friend group out of probably any of us. So yeah, bro. Yeah, we are. We know it's true. So yeah, share that if you want to make a comment about getting in on it yourself. Again, if you want to set up a webcam stream with Justin or my brother, I see if he has some time to do one too. We will definitely jump in and do one, guys. I want to play. I want to roll dice. Rock Ravenheart's friend list does have a lot of different kinds of people. He's telling us in the chat now about one kind, I guess. So if that is one, so if that. Everyone can play this game too, by the way. You guys didn't get to see this, but our day 0 prep and making characters took less than 10 minutes for everyone. So it is not like D&D in that the characters take no time to make, no time to get ready. And because they're all custom, there's never been any other character like it, so it's going to go in a place no one's ever seen before. So it's very exciting. We're so excited to put this on the internet and share it with everyone. I think I've rambled on enough. So again, thank you guys so much for your time. and for listening to me talk with half a voice. Next week it'll be much better, I promise. And so we will thank you guys again, and we will see you
Monday.
Next time.
next time. He gets a rave point for saying next time. Thank
I
you
thought we were
guys.
going to all
See you
say it
guys.
together. I was waiting for the
Should've.
signal.
Much love, Rocks. Please come on back next Monday and see us, and let me know if you want to get in on a game. And we'll see you guys next time.
Woo!